Hey, Roger, this is not the time to be joking. They are all strong. Guessing what Roger was thinking, Rayleigh felt a headache. Roger's eyes glowed red. That's why I want to fight them. Grand line, the core is just one word, grab. In the sea, people can win many times and accumulate countless treasures, but if they lose once, they will be taken away by stronger people. Doflamingo lost, Darius Rosa lost. Kaido is defeated and loses Wanakuna's territory. Many people have worked hard for most of their careers, but they are all in vain overnight. This is the truth. Therefore, as long as you observe carefully, you can find that there is a rule in the team in the sea. As long as the team is complete, well equipped, and there are many loot, it means that this team has not lost in the competition for a long time. Kazan, Shaki famous knife graduate. Jianao's configuration has already got full marks, and the team is perfect. A knowledgeable person can judge the strength of the team just by looking at the configuration. Not to mention, the strong have a unique vision, instinctive intuition. However, there is always the chosen one who kills Logia when he doesn't know how to Haki. Ahahaha, Rayleigh, I don't think I'm going to lose. Roger lowered the straw hat and smiled slyly. And at this time, the surrounding people suddenly panicked. They are the Kazan brothers. Elder brother Kazan has a bounty of 740 million berry, and younger brother Shiki has a bounty of 520 million berry. The super bounty issued by New World a month ago, but why did they appear in the park in such a short time? Gaia Island. Hiss, such a bounty is a little scary. The sound of discussion came, and the pirates who were about to make a move completely died down. Rayleigh, don't underestimate people. Roger, Rayleigh, I'm more excited. Rayleigh, I have a headache, and at this time, the other members have gone shopping hippie. Kazan, Shiki, and Shaki only brought 2 guards. Find a tavern to sit down at random, and order something casually. As soon as Shiki's glittering figure came, with a glance, the people around gave up their seats in panic. After sitting down, of course Kazan knew he was being watched by Roger Rayleigh. But they are all pirate camps, and there is no conflict of interest, so he naturally has no intention of getting involved. Now go try the weight of One Piece. If you have that time, it is better to read more books. Now Kazan has got the gold of Sky Island. Shipbuilding and the formation of pirates are his first priority. The name of the pirate group, the pirate ship, is the most basic card of a team, and it must be arranged first. Shaki? Of course I came with the team belonging. It's time to build a pirate group of 2 brothers. Secondly, the thunder fruit I just got also needs to be eaten by myself. I ate Paramecia and Logia here. Let's not say I didn't get the remaining slots, but even if I got them, no matter what, I should give priority to reserving them for phantom beasts that can improve their physical fitness. It is very important to always have a vacant slot. Shiki can't be eaten anyway. Therefore, if the thunder is not used, it is a waste of resources. Now meet Shaki. Xinglei is a natural booster of knowledge, and she is a good candidate as an intelligence expert. In the future, if there are enough female members, she will be needed to become the detachment leader. Here, Shaki summarizes recent events at sea. Kazan. Rox established a pirate group and recruited Edward Newgate. Last week, the bounty suddenly changed from 940 million berry to 1.24 billion berry. Newgate is a shock fruit capable person, and the bounty changed from 430 million to 520 million berry. Charlotte Linlin and Long Bread have recently made their name in the sea, and their bounty is 190 million berry. John. Marine has recently established 14 new branches around Hachinosu, which means that there is movement in this sea area. Shaki's intel did a good job. Even Marine's movement is also concerned. This era. Those who can pay attention can only be those members of the Rox group in the original book. The lair is also on Pirate Island, Hachinosu. Heard the Rox recruited to Newgate first. Kazan nodded. How much do you know about Rox? Not sure. Shaki. Whether it's information in the marine or the underground black market, Rox has always been a mysterious figure with a bounty but no information. As early as 15 years ago, his initial bounty was as high as 240 million berry, and then it kept increasing, and there was a break. It was gone for a long time, and now it popped up again. Judging from the sudden increase in Locke's bounty of 300 million, Marine attaches great importance to its re-entry into the public eye. Perhaps. Except for Rox himself, only a small number of Marine executives know the reason. Fine. Gone. I saw the female warriors coming back from shopping with big bags. Kazan greeted. The message of the present era is becoming clearer. Rox and Edward Newgate's establishment of the pirates is also a signal of the beginning of an era. When the power is accumulated to a certain extent, the sea will surge wildly. Only. Just when Kazan and his group were about to arrive at the port, two figures suddenly appeared in front of Kazan. Without thinking, Shaki turned to look at Kazan. The pirate group that just came out of East Blue. Gold D. Roger, Silver Rayleigh. The bounty is less than 20 million berry. Ding. Detecting crafted treasures within 500 range. Through the treasure hunting radar, I learned that there is a treasure approaching. Looking at the entire island, there is only the sword in Rayleigh's hand. Kazan touches it, and it's another fortune value. As for first generation Onitoru and Sakura Tokikuku, those already owned by the team are not counted. So, Kazan was not surprised that Roger came out to block the way. And the Roger pirates side. After learning that he couldn't stop Roger's challenge, Rayleigh went to inquire about intelligence. As soon as he came back with a shocked face, he saw that Roger had already acted, so he had no choice but to hand over Griffin to Roger and stand together. The atmosphere seemed tense. However, Roger helped the straw hat, his mouth split open suddenly and he smiled and said, I'm sorry. I'm not here to cause trouble. I want to ask, can you invite me and my companion Rayleigh to a banquet on the boat? Banquet? Go overboard. Roger. Rayleigh was bewildered. But I muttered in my heart, didn't I agree to fight? Shiki immediately frowned when he heard this. Hey, you bastard, what are you thinking? Looking at the entire Gaia island full of small shrimps, it is worth noting the aura of these two people. According to Shaki, their heads are only worth 20 million berry, which makes Shiki even more curious. But I can't bear to stop myself from bringing up such a thing as having a banquet. Am I familiar with you? Roger has the gift of listening to everything, and he senses the first generation ghost in Kazan's hand. There is no murderous intent, no fighting spirit. And Kazan also has the ability to listen to everything and sense the griffin in Roger's arms. There is a fighting intent, but no killing intent. Kazan knew that Roger was looking for a reason for the friendly match, so he stood in front of him, and it would be impolite to refuse. The person who can stir up the situation in the future does not know the level of strength. There is no suitable venue for Gaia Island, and the residents here maintain considerable respect for ringing the golden bell themselves, coming down from Sky Island. Let the living environment of some civilians be messed up because of the fighting. Not a wise choice. A banquet. So boring. Soon, the Xiaoyao snake set sail and set sail. The deck became lively. The woman of Amazon Lily's life skill point is full, rich meat and drinks are brought up. See such a rich food. Roger's eyes lit up, and he immediately sat cross-legged on the deck, clasping his hands. Thank you for the hospitality, then I will be impolite. Ha ha ha, laughed and tore the piece of meat, Gululu. Rayleigh looked left and right, feeling more and more shocked inside. I can see it. The pirate flag of this ship and the design of the ship are more feminine. At first glance, it belongs to the beautiful woman named Shaki. She is the captain of the Peony Pirates. Kazan and Shaki are outsiders. It's just that for some reason both men and ships were conquered by Kazan. Unlike Roger, who is carefree, Rayleigh sees problems more comprehensively and handles things calmly. Kazan can conquer a boatload of people, which is enough to show that his personality is strong enough. He is different from pirates who only know how to fight and kill. A person with arrogance can easily conquer others. This kind of person is destined to be extraordinary in the sea. Even Rayleigh was moved by Roger's arrogance before going to sea. Gulu gulu. Roger swallowed the piece of meat, and immediately lowered his head. Ahahaha. Thank you so much for your hospitality. Rayleigh looked serious, and said solemnly, Roger, he is not simple, he is a man who can conquer a pirate group with courage. Roger watched Kazan with interest, then reach over and clink glasses with the nearest Shiki. Just like a rascal. Of course Shiki looked dissatisfied. But Shiki knew that Kazan never did unnecessary things, so Shiki also guessed that the two were different from ordinary people, but facing Roger's enthusiastic clink of glasses, he still refused and couldn't help saying, Roger bastard, drink with me, you are qualified well. Qualifications. Woo. Roger held his wine glass in one hand and squeezed his chin in the other, as if thinking. Ahahaha. Qualifications, but it doesn't matter, right? Shiki turned his head away and downed his drink. Cut. I thought I could say something. Pirates. I am used to staying at sea, and other than eating and drinking, my spare time activities are bragging and farting, and exchanging information. The wine is in place. Roger and Rayleigh also volunteered to share their knowledge of East Blue. Obviously, compared to what the Kazan brothers have seen and heard. The current experience of the Roger pirates is as clean as a blank sheet of paper. Shiki is not interested at all. It was dragged by Roger to talk about some topics about Wanokuni and bounty increase. Knowing that Kazan and Shaki have been to the country of samurai, and relying on swordsmanship to set up a ring in Wano-kuni, they defeated dozens of Wano-kuni wandering samurai, and finally won the two famous swords of Sakura Ten and Muku. Roger's eyes lit up immediately. Oh. The Kingdom of Samurai in Legendary? Amazing experience. Shiki, you actually defeated so many samurai and won the famous sword in their hands, you are an amazing person. Facing Roger's way of making friends, Shiki couldn't resist. Jia ha 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 ha, what is this? Then. I was dragged to briefly explain the encounter with Sengoku Garp in New World. Hearing this, Rayleigh was so surprised that he got up directly. Garp? That East Blue maniac? Did you fight those two ruthless Marines? The sailing experience of these two people has been enriched to such an extent. Even now, Garp's reputation has spread throughout the East Blue, and the pirates are fleeing. Roger pulled Rayleigh to sit down. Rayleigh, we will have it in the future. If you want to subvert the sea, don't be in a hurry. Seeing that the banquet was almost over, the ship also sailed to a place with a deserted island. Kazan smiled and said, then, after so much delay, you can tell your purpose, Roger, Rayleigh. Ah. Roger took a rare serious look and raised his head. I'm here to discuss with you, Kazan. I can see that you are very strong. Since the other party tried their best to come to the door, Kazan naturally would not refuse. How could it spoil the interest of the guests? Brush. At that moment, everyone could only feel a white light flashing in front of them, and they couldn't help blinking. In just a short time, Kazan and Roger have already teleported to the deserted island. In a short time, several tricks have passed. The bounty is 740 million. It's real. Roger just finished speaking. Kazan appeared in front of Roger in an instant, so fast that he wanted to tear the air. The moment first-generation Goosh came out of the scabbard, he had already come to Roger and swung his saber down. Roger's Griffin also locks on Kazan at the same time. Brush. The moment they stepped onto the deserted island, the two shot at the same time. In a short time, several moves have been completed. There was a clanging sound. The distance has opened more than 10 meters in an instant, as if they will teleport. A few strands of Kazan's blonde hair fell out. On the right side of Roger's face, there was a wound, and a line of bright red blood slid down his cheek uncontrollably. It's amazing. The swordsmanship has reached such a level that I almost got hurt. Kazan couldn't help but praise. Ahahaha. Roger said with a smile. Your sword skills are really good, precise, efficient, and very fierce. It was really dangerous just now. But the knife in your hand, the wound caused really hurts. It hurts more than a broken bone. What is certain is that in terms of sword skills alone, Kazan has the upper hand. He can injure the opponent in the cold sword fight. If the distance between each of them was 1 centimeter closer in the previous attack, Roger's wound may be deeper. Kazan's control of the safe distance is still accurate. The voice fell. Roger releases armament Haki, covering Griffin's blade. And Kazan saw the first trial over. Also used armament Haki, which covered the blade with precision. Standing at the bow of the boat, Rayleigh was amazed at the battle on the island. Shiki, what a strong armament Haki. Your brother's Haki is very accomplished. He is indeed a monster who ran out of New World. Shiki's eyes gradually became hot. Looking at Rayleigh, his fighting spirit was rampant. What about your strength? Ah. I can't. Seeing Shiki's eyes, Rayleigh hastily raised his hand innocently. Look, I don't even have a knife in my hand. Shiki. It's boring. Now that Roger has set up a duel, the nature of this duel has changed, and Rayleigh doesn't want extra complications. Moreover, in Rayleigh's view, Shiki is definitely a good player, and he must be a well-known strong man, but his personality is not as measured as his big brother. For someone like Shiki, the process will definitely make me very painful. Rayleigh is a very stable person, so he naturally knows the role he is playing now. If he goes to sea with Roger, a carefree person, if he doesn't have a little control to control the situation, the ship will capsize if he doesn't pay attention. Compared with the sea, how to keep not losing is the more difficult thing. Bring it on. Kazan. Roger clenched the griffin in his hand, and released the dark armament Haki with all his might. The voice just fell. The two rushed towards each other like arrows leaving the string. Ping, pong. The two famous knives collided together, making a crisp sound. The moment they collided, two streams of Conqueror's Haki were released simultaneously. Rayleigh could see that this wasn't a purely sword fight. Fencing? Sword move? I have already tried the last few moves, and I have already started not only using moves, but also leaning towards Haki. Could it be that the winner has already been decided in terms of swordsmanship? So fast. The collision of power, Armament Haki's collision. Conqueror's Haki's collision. The three inconceivable forces collided at this moment. The airwaves hit, and the sea was rolled up. Even the Xiaoyao snake in the distance began to shake violently, and the seawater on the hull was pushed away. What a terrifying power. Shaki couldn't help opening his eyebrows slightly, and unconsciously tightened his hand holding the railing. At this moment, the surrounding air velocity increased over the entire sea surface, like a sudden change in the wind and clouds. Black's lightning flashed and disappeared, but even for a moment, it was so powerful that it seemed to distort the space. My lord, Kyle can't take it anymore. In the competition between the two, Conquerors was raging, and Amazon Lily's female warrior, who was weak, was a little dizzy, and two of them fell to the ground. And at this time, the battle on the deserted island has reached a fever pitch. Roger held the knife in both hands and galloped on the ground, his eyes actually glowed red. Same. Kazan also rushed over with a knife, jumped directly into the sky, and slashed down with the first-generation ghost in both hands. Boom. A powerful force came from above, and Roger felt his legs sinking, and the sand around him shot out suddenly, and the air wave immediately rolled up, filling the entire battlefield with smoke and dust. Roger gritted his teeth and sighed. The sword skills are superb, and the strength is also powerful. You are indeed a monster. With the collision of swords, thunder flashed on the island again. After all, Roger didn't eat devil fruit, and Kazan didn't choose to use his ability, otherwise he would be too bullying. Judging from the duel between the two, Roger still lacked a little bit of means, and Haki didn't grow to the point of crushing others. The danger of the sea is also an opportunity. Whoever can grasp it can quickly become stronger. Rayleigh saw this happening on board. I also understand that this is a good opportunity to end the fight. After all, Roger and Kazan are both strong, and they can't tell the winner for a while. He immediately shouted at the two of them, "Hello. Roger, Kazan, if you continue to compare, this ship will fall apart. You all stop." The voice came. Roger wrestled with the knife, and immediately erupted with a burst of violent force. With this power, Kazan kicked the griffin that Roger was holding. Both were strained, and Roger took a few steps back. Kazan floated a few meters away by the wind and landed lightly. It seems that today's duel did not satisfy you, Kazan. Roger withdrew his power after finishing speaking. Kazan. There will be a chance to decide the winner in the future. Roger squeezed half of his face that felt a little numb. Oh, really? What you are holding is a demon sword. With my constitution, it would be difficult to fight against this wound. It's unbelievable. Roger twitched his lips and hissed. Being stabbed is really an unwise choice. Kazan said. Its name is first-generation Katoru, and it is indeed a demon sword, which ranks among the top 12 swords. Roger's words also made Kazan pay attention. Could it be that the first-generation Goosh will make the target's wound appear, special effect? Oh. A precious sword like Griffin. Where did you get it? Roger was curious about the origin of first-generation Onitsu, because he lacked a famous sword to accompany him. Kazan said. To be precise, it is in the hands of the world government. Roger was taken aback. The world's government? Have you reached this point yet? That's amazing. Roger sighed, his eyes lit up and he approached, and he couldn't help but look at the first-generation Goosh for a while. The blade is as clean as a mirror, and it is indeed a forged handle. Great knife from Ultimate. Kazan also took a look at Griffin, who was in the style of a Western sword. This knife appeared with shanks in the first chapter of the original book, and later Roger and Whitebeard Conqueror's entangled memories. It was the saber in Rayleigh's hand at that time. No matter the color matching or the shape of each part of the knife, it was the same handle. Now Roger did not get the supreme sword, Ace. Kazan can still feel the desire of a master swordsman for a famous sword, otherwise he would not have taken Shiki to Wanokuni to find a sword early. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Kazan's fingers inadvertently slid across Griffin's body. Ding. Host contact detected. Crafting treasure, 12 great swordsmen, Griffin. Reward. Fortune worth 10 points. Kazan's ship is already on its way to the capital of the Seven Waters. It is still in the early days. Even if Roger and Rayleigh are famous in later generations, they are still fledglings now, and they don't have too many wonderful experiences. Kazan is not interested in talking with them in depth for the time being. Meet and learn from each other, it's just an episode in the sea. After the first fight, the two of Roger encountered a small pirate ship. After resolutely grabbing it, we parted from Kazan and others. The peony snake, on deck. Shiki asked. Brother, seeing that you haven't used the fruit ability, it seems that the opponent is nothing more than that. You can't say that, Shiki. Kazan. His current sword skills are not as good as yours, But you have to understand that when a person is fighting to the death, his potential will explode, and no one should be underestimated. There are many ways to fight in the sea. Sword skills and devil fruit are just one of them. Don't slack off in the cultivation of Haki. Roger's Haki use will be very successful in the future. Hearing this, Shiki pondered. Is Haki combined with swordsmanship the mainstream? For you, yes. At this time, Shaki came to Kazan, the capital of 7 waters. The most famous shipyard is Benjamin's studio. Then go to Benjamin's studio. Who is Benjamin? Never heard of that. What studio builds the ship? Kazan doesn't actually care. Whose plan is easy to use? Kazan only knew that Tom's workshop was very famous later on. It was the company established by the boatman Murloc Tom in Legendary. Later, he was arrested by Marie Joyce for building a ship for Roger. Later, he also produced the Citron, and was finally framed by Spandam. Executed at Eni's lobby. The reason why I pay attention to this Murloc is because he may have the Pluton blueprint in his hand. This is a drawing that has been handed down for 800 years. But at this point in time, Kazan doesn't know whether he can meet Tom now, and whether he has the Pluton blueprint is also unknown. Let's go. Shiki, fly low, start from the sea from now on. After getting the treasure hunting radar, in order not to miss the treasure floating on the sea, Kazan decided that it would be better for his ship to fly lower in the future. If there is nothing urgent to do, sailing on the sea is also a new experience. After all, I got lion fruit at the beginning. What is it like to sail? I have never experienced it. On the other side, the Sea of Paradise. On the pirate ship that Roger and Rayleigh snatched, there were strewn bandages and bottles and jars of potion all over the cabin. Looking at Rayleigh, who scattered things on the ground, Roger said, "It hurts. Rayleigh, take it easy." Hiss. That first-generation goosh is really scary. A little deeper, and the bones will be cut by him. Compared with the arms and thighs of the human face, the skin is very thin, and the bones can be seen without paying attention. With the powerful constitution, this small injury did not need to be bandaged, but perhaps because the first-generation goosh is a bit special, the injury on Roger's face did not stop bleeding for a long time. Rayleigh bandaged Roger. What's his price? Roger. A few hairs. Roger said truthfully. This. Hearing this, Rayleigh was obviously taken aback. A wound that only replaces a few hairs. Rayleigh manipulated Roger's face with limited medical skills, and said, "Your first thought was not to snatch the knife. Why did you change your mind? I thought you would mess around. Well, you changed your mind. Otherwise, it will be troublesome." This, Roger replied after thinking for a while. "I originally planned to do that, but after getting close, I couldn't feel the fighting spirit on him. He was like an outsider on the sea, watching the people on the sea. Everything. The battle I proposed did not arouse the opponent's fighting spirit. He didn't even use the fruit's ability. It wasn't fun this time. Rayleigh, it's still a long time, it's very normal." Hearing this, Rayleigh commented, "A big brother who plans strategies, a younger brother who can stand up at any time, with strange abilities. The pirate team formed by these two people will not be easy in the future. Ah. When they really show their fangs, I'm afraid the whole sea will boil because of them." Really? Roger laughed. "That's not good. Isn't the sea more exciting?" Rayleigh. "So where do we go now? Any plans?" Roger said optimistically. "Become stronger. Rayleigh, this sea is not easy. The capital of 7 waters is a city with a long history. Even though it is attacked every year, it is still not destroyed. Since a long time ago, this place has become a paradise for all shipwrights. Before Marie Joyce's shipbuilding technology was perfected, the shipyard here was responsible for providing a large number of warships to Marine, and the number was horrifying. Certainly. I want to ask the most glorious time of the capital of 7 waters. That must have been 800 years ago. Because the super battleship named Pluton was built by the shipbuilders of the Water City 800 years ago. Pluton is also known as one of the 3 ancient weapons, and a single shot in Legendary can destroy an island. The emergence of Pluton once made the water capital a holy place in the hearts of boatmen. What a beautiful view. Is this the capital of the 7 waters? What a beautiful place. What a big waterfall. Woo. Make a wish. When Kazan's ship arrived on the island, Warrior, the lily of the Amazons, was stunned by the city, which looked like a giant fountain. The most indispensable thing in the Grand Line is the characteristic islands, and the water capital is undoubtedly the representative of them. Back from New World last time. Because I was rushing to Sky Island to get gold, I didn't stop on the road and missed a lot of scenery. Whether it is Shiki or Shaki and others, the world has not yet fully developed. It's only natural to be shocked when you see a new island. Everyone worked hard along the way. Let's play for a while. After the Xiaoyao snake entered the port, Kazan asked Shaki to distribute a certain amount of berry to the crew and let them shop and relax. After all, the capital of water is also a commercial city, and it is also a tourist attraction in the first half of the Grand Line, where new clothes from all over the world, special earrings and jewelry, etc. If a woman dresses brightly and has various characteristics, she will also be eye-catching during the voyage. Kazan thinks it's worth the money. Sailing is a very tortuous thing, especially staying on the ship for a long time, which is a kind of mental torture. Going to the island has become the only way for many people to relax. Fortunately, there are no longer two brothers on board, and now they are starting to build a new ship. A new pirate ship will bring infinite improvements to the sailing environment. At this time, the female warriors happily disembarked, waving their arms to greet Kazan Shaki. On deck, Shaki watched it all from Kazan's side. She is trying to show her worth. Not only is she dealing with intelligence, supplies and other work, but she is also assigning manpower for management. One night a few days ago, Shaki also asked Kazan about moving the islands for the Daughter Kingdom afterwards. After all, as the future ruler of the Daughter Kingdom, sailing itself is for the future of Amazon Lily. Kazan told her with certainty that it would be fine in the future. From the moment he was cured of lovesickness, Shaki was determined to follow Kazan. Now that she heard the promise again, she felt very lucky. Moreover, in the past, she had to decide all the big and small things on the ship alone. Since the team was completely handed over to Kazan, the Empress status was not so heavy on her, but the whole person relaxed a lot. Lovesickness came too timely. Woohoo, fortunately, I'm sick. Shaki even felt that. If he hadn't suffered from lovesickness and parted ways with Kazan normally in the water capital at this moment, he would cry to death. After about a month, I got tired of staying in Shiki City of Water and went to play casually. The female soldiers on the ship were not tired of going out for a walk during the day, and they went back to live on the snake at night. That's how the pirates work. The City of Water is hit by a tsunami called aquarodna every year. After the tsunami, a special flavor of sea salt will be left under the eaves of the residents. The local residents will use this sea salt for cooking. This sea salt is unique throughout the Grand Line. When Kazan arrived, it was just after the tsunami hit and it was the best food season. The watery meat is served with a pinch of sea salt, and the taste is quite wonderful. Ah, so delicious. Even though he has eaten it many times, Shaki can't help being amazed every time. Turning his head, he suggested, I'll ask them to prepare more sea salt for the boat later. Oh, yes. Benjamin's studio just said that the design of the boat has been prepared, and we can go there to make a final decision at any time. Really, let's go. Benjamin's studio headquarters, in the reception meeting room. Shi Zhang of the Water City and Benjamin, the president of the shipbuilding studio, saw Kazan coming. Immediately stood up with a face full of attention. Kazan in front of him, despite his young age, is the biggest client Benjamin has ever seen. But as for Kazan's information, Benjamin already knew about it, but he would not bring it up on purpose. Everyone in Grand Line should find their own position, he is just a businessman. As an important hub of the Grand Line, the City of Seven Waters carries all boat services. As long as you buy berry, the boatman will arrange it for you. His customers are not only Marines, but also all pirates. But this is the first time Benjamin has seen a pirate with a bounty of 740 million berry. After sitting down, Benjamin introduced himself and began to discuss shipbuilding. Touching his beard, he said, Mr. Kazan, please take a look at the design drawing here, and modify it if you are not satisfied. However, for such a large ship with such specifications, in order to improve efficiency, I would like to unite the 4 shipyards in the water capital, collect the best materials from all shipyards, and jointly build them together. I, Benjamin, guarantee with my industry reputation that the studio will strictly complete every process. I don't know if you agree with this method? Of course Kazan felt fine. Take a look at the design drawing. The length of the entire ship was designed by Benjamin's studio to be 135 meters, Sunshine Sunny is 39 meters and 56 meters high. The bow of the ship is a dragon head and body ready to go, which is designed to resemble the wind dragon of the fruit of the wind. Under the dragon head is a roaring lion. It's about to spray all the time. These bow decorations will be plated with a layer of gold. In addition to a huge hidden swimming pool on the deck, the most prominent is the bow and stern. Under the premise of ensuring the structure of the ship, the layout inside meets all the conditions of life. After all, counting the timeline, there are still 19 years before the most famous battle of the Valley of the Gods, and there is still a long way to go, and there may be new members joining. Kazan is ready to do it in one step, so the big design sum. Anyway, with wind control, it is not difficult to run. Of course, Kazan considered that there will be female Amazon warriors coming in the future, and there is a certain chance of recruiting male members, so the whole ship is divided into two parts, the front and the back. The bow, let Shiki take care of it. The stern, to Shaki. After all, Kazan got some lunar instruments in Sky Island, as well as technical drawings, so he reserved a space at the bottom of the ship, and if conditions permit, he will install some new technologies in the future. Why not pretend now? The boatman couldn't understand those blueprints. Also, Kazan is unwilling to show it to outsiders for research. Soon, representatives from several other shipyards, as well as elite boatmen, came to the meeting room. Coincidentally, Tom the Murloc is among them. After half an hour of negotiation with several shipyards, Benjamin finally gave the final quotation. 600 million berry, this is the price after VIP discounts. Hearing Benjamin's offer, Shaki felt a pain in the flesh. 600 million berry, it has exceeded the total output value of a small country for a whole year. No problem. Kazan confirmed. For this price, he has no problem. The shipbuilding industry in the City of Water is the best in the world. Legendary boatman Murloc Tom, as the most outstanding shipbuilder in later generations, also came to participate in the project, proving that Benjamin sent an elite team. In order to take care of more Amazon Lily female soldiers in the future, the interior design of the ship is different from that of ordinary pirate ships. It took Benjamin's team a month to overcome the structural design of the bow and stern. As for the materials used, the value of the treasure tree atom used as the keel alone is more than 250 million berry. So Kazan happily accepted the offer. Returned to the suite set by the water capital. Shaki plunged headlong into the big soft bed, muttering incessantly. Except for the higher price, everything else went well. 600 million berry. 600 million berry. And when she turned her head, I saw Kazan make up a blue devil fruit out of thin air. Shaki's eyes were amazed immediately. Hey, this is devil fruit? What kind of ability is this? Shaki hurriedly picked up the devil fruit, completely stunned, and said in shock, is this for me? Honestly. Although Shaki is a novice who has not been out to sea for a long time. But as an intelligence expert, she still knows devil fruit very well. Certainly. She knew that owning a devil fruit would undoubtedly improve her strength in a short period of time. The problem is, Shaki never dreamed of it. Kazan actually gave himself such a precious devil fruit. Yes, this is the devil fruit that can make people fly into the sky, and it is also Logia, thunder fruit. After eating, you will have the power to control thunder. Logia. The invincible Logia. Shaki was excited, but didn't reach out to take it. Instead, he shook his head with a tangled face, or, forget it. It's such a waste to give me such a precious thing. Perhaps seeing the strength of Kazan and Shiki, Shaki subconsciously believed that the fruit must be paired with top-level powerhouses in order to exert its greatest effect. Reasonable allocation of resources is the most important thing for a team. She was right. But in the sea, how many people can stir up the situation in this era? In the center of the battleground, there are no more than 10 rocks on the team. And Shaki is one of them. Still, Shaki was touched by Kazan's behavior. She knew that Kazan's wind fruit was Logia, and she saw it all. Incomparable. So after learning that it was thunder fruit, Shaki knew its inestimable value. Seeing Shaki's appearance, Kazan couldn't help laughing, and then stroked Shaki's hair. You have to learn to be confident. After all, you are a woman I value very much, understand? The ability of this fruit will allow you to help me better. Go. I'll take you to eat this devil fruit. Shaki was moved with tears in his eyes, and nodded vigorously. Yeah. Came to a desert island. Kazan watched from the sky, and Shaki on the deserted island ate the thunder fruit in one gulp. It's really unpalatable. I want to vomit. It's just as unpalatable as described in the information. Hey, the power in my body is beating. Like 10,000 lightning arcs. Shaki froze for a moment, subconsciously feeling the changes in his body in just now. Boom. At this moment, a vigorous thunder force, billions of thunder snakes erupted from Shaki. Kazan subconsciously rose to higher altitudes. I was thinking in my heart, would there be a scene like a natural disaster? I saw Shaki's body, at the moment, like a blue thunderball, covered with blue lightning. On the deserted island, a dozen lightning bolts suddenly fell from the sky, and the bombardment exploded on the ground. The huge sound waves would shake the rocks crumble. However, it's just that. The whole process only takes a few minutes. Seeing this result, Kazan was not disappointed. Thunderfruit was definitely a top-level fruit, and there were no natural disasters, which can only show that the thunderfruit is special, or the island where the thunderfruit is located is special. Kazan could not help but look at the black text in the space. What is the connection between this? Soon, looking at the elemental Shaki, Kazan smiled and said, "From now on, you'll eat Logia's ability users." Shaki nodded heavily. As an intelligence expert, she has an excellent mind and has known about devil fruit for a long time. Devil fruit is divided into 3 categories: Zone, Paramecia, Logia. In general, Zone is the weakest fruit, Paramecia is the most complex, and Logia is the rarest, and is recognized as the strongest of the 3 categories. The reason why Logia ranks the strongest, it is because its application is extremely wide, and the lower limit is infinitely raised. It's a rookie's nightmare. And if you get the damage attribute ability in Logia, it is almost impossible to solve. There is no doubt that Thunder is the unsolvable ability among natural elements. After adapting to Thunder Fruit's ability, Shaki hugged him up, and he came out of Kazan's arms after a long time of acting like a baby. There seemed to be blue arcs jumping in his beautiful eyes, and he looked at Kazan firmly and said, "I will definitely become your most trusted people. I am looking forward." Kazan nodded with a smile. Shaki has been completely pinched by Kazan into the shape he wants. Then, the next thing is simple, just develop the fruit ability. Not only Shaki, but Kazan too. As long as he is trained properly, the future Shaki will definitely become a strong player like Charlotte Linlin. Time passed. In a blink of an eye, it was already 8 months later. Kazan spread out his palms, and a secluded green wind ball the size of 2 fists twirled frantically in his hands. The strength of devil fruit lies in the physical strength and imagination of the capable person. Physical strength, like the blue bar of the character in the game. And imagination refers to how a person with abilities uses their abilities. Get inspiration from Whitebeard's ability to compress seismic waves into a pellet and then explode, and from Hokage Naruto's ability to compress wind attributes into Rasengan, which increases damage. Kazan can now also concentrate a certain amount of small storms on his hands, and continuously flow them in irregular directions, compressing them to form palm-sized wind pressure pellets. And release means palm, first generation goosh, wind blows Buddha out. It's all possible. Boom chocho ji lala. A huge rock was blasted by the wind pressure in front of Kazan, and the stones flew out and were chopped by the wind. Then, Kazan made a roundabout kick, and a green light wind blade slashed across. Another boulder was cut off in the middle, and the incision was no different from being cut by a famous knife. Kazan looked at the gravel on the ground with a satisfied expression. And at this time, a thunderbolt fell from the sky and exploded nearby. After the thunder flicker disappeared, a figure appeared in front of Kazan. Shaki smiled and said, "Kazan, our ship has been built and we can go back to the capital of 7 waters." Heard the words. Kazan took a look at his panel, which was now improved. Host. Kazan Swordsmanship. LV-77 Constitution. LV-77. Observation Haki. LV-57 Branch 1. Foreseeing the future. Armament Haki. LV-57 Branch 1. Flow Conquerors Haki. LV-57. Lion Fruit Wind Fruit. LV-57 Special Talent. Listening to all things. Treasure Radar. Searching. Fortune. 65. Portable Space. Books, Black Boulder, Fresh Water, Food. Experience Value. 0. Teams, Resources, Ships. Already. The rest is to compete in the sea. Carve your brand in the era. Sigh a few words. Kazan said to Shaki. Call Shiki, we're leaving for New World. Shiki has been notified, and he said he will be there soon. Soon, a small temporary ship began to lift off and return to the water capital. Meanwhile, Sabaody Island. Sabaody Island has the largest mangrove tree in the world, the Alkaman mangrove. Because the roots of the trees are always exposed to the water, coupled with their almost invincible vitality, the seeds of the big trees fell again. Over time, the entire group of trees formed the Sabaody archipelago. The roots of the Alkaman mangrove secrete a special natural resin due to respiration. The resin expands with air to form bubbles, and then flies to the sky. The bubbles will burst when they leave the climate of Sabaody Island. Let this unique island become a unique scenery in the world. Because it is backed by the holy land of Redline, Marie Joyce, Sabaody Island has also become the back garden of celestial dragons. Certainly. This is also where Shiki relaxes while building the pirate ship. 1st GR to 29th GR. Human trafficking shop, no legal zone. Auction house. Fu Ya, the female warrior from Amazon Lily, said, Master Shiki. The Empress spoke on the phone and said that the ship has been built and can sail today. Shiki. Huh? So fast. Has my brother arrived yet? Still on the way back. Fu Ya said. Don't worry, it's my first time entering the auction house, I'll leave after buying this one. Okay, Master Shiki. There is not only human trafficking in the auction house, but also devil fruit transactions. One fruit will be auctioned this time. In the early years, the two brothers started their business by getting Paramecia lion fruit by accident. For devil fruit, Shiki still attaches great importance to it. Soon, the auctioneer came on stage. The next auction item. This is a secret treasure of the sea. After identification, it is Paramecia door fruit. The starting price is 100 million berry. Following the auctioneer's introduction, the on-site bidders immediately became restless in the audience. This is devil fruit. Woohoo! Paramecia's is pretty good too. Do you know any specific information? Devil fruit will not publish information. The auction is entirely based on luck, and it also depends on the later development. Paramecia? Door fruit? Shiki doesn't quite understand the specific ability of this fruit. But the person came down from Sky Island, and he has quite a lot of money. Hundreds of millions of berry can be paid out. 120 million berry. Fu Ya held up the sign. In a short period of time, this fruit of the door has been called 220 million berry on the field. At this price, Shiki is also a pain in the ass. Under Shiki's instruction, Fu Ya once again raised a placard, 300 million berry. And just after calling out the price, a man in a black suit came up to him. Hey, where are the untouchables from? Do you know who is bidding with you? But Figalen Leonker's saint. If you dare to be presumptuous, you will be sent to prison as a slave. What the hell? Shiki didn't even look at the person coming. Tell that thing to go. Hiss, Shiki's voice fell, and the audience fell into a deathly silence. Everyone never expected that in Sabaody Island, someone would dare to call the celestial dragons, the nobles of the world, ghosts. He even told him to F***K off. Is this golden retriever crazy? Where is the country boy from? Doesn't he know the name of celestial dragons? They are a family of gods code named Holy. Although wearing a glass cover, Figalen Leonker's Saint Belt clearly heard Shiki's words. She coughed up her snot, and there was a lot of anger in her eyes. There is only one word for this kind of pariah, death. Of course, celestial dragons, who never regard other creatures as human beings, naturally have their own bad tastes. They like to let those pariahs be abused both psychologically and physically. 600 million berry. The people around Leonkers immediately raised their cards. The audience was silent again. Nima, one Paramecia devil fruit is worth 600 million berry. It's as good as a pig. But after thinking about it, I understood that they are indeed celestial dragons, and their financial resources are the most in the world. There is no auction item they want. No matter what the price is, it is drizzle for the nobles who harvest the world. This price, of course, exceeded Shiki's expectation. The auction house is not the ocean, so it is best to follow the rules when entering. Keep your style, don't buy it if you don't have enough money. Otherwise it will be looked down upon. With a trace of regret, Shiki intends to leave. And at this moment, Leonkers was playing with the door fruit in his hand, and stopped in front of Shiki. Everyone around broke out in a cold sweat. That blonde kid. Trouble. There is no doubt that he must die. Really. In the next second, Leonkers suddenly raised the gold musket at his waist. Aim for Shiki. Boom, as the gunpowder exploded, the scene immediately filled with smoke. Huge gunshots sounded in the auction house. The buzzing reverberation made the scalp tingle. Everyone was shocked, and they were sure that the blonde boy's head had blossomed. Next second. Painful wailing immediately resounded throughout the audience. Wait for the dust to clear. All of them looked at the field with dull eyes. Many people had already put their fingers in their mouths. Their eyes were terrified, as if they saw something they had never seen before. I see. The figure of Shiki Gold has stood up. In one hand is the devil fruit that celestial dragons just snapped, and in the other hand is a gold musket. And in front of Jin Shiki, the noble celestial dragons, Leonker's saint, was already kneeling on the ground trembling at this moment. His hands had been severed, the bones, muscles, were exposed to the air, the scarlet blood, from the blood vessels out of chaos. Ah! Leonkers wailed. Tears and snot sprayed on the glass cover, disgusting. The whole picture is brutal and violent. Not good. Celestial dragons are injured. Run. If you dare to attack celestial dragons, you will be hunted down by Marine. We are here to buy goods, not to die. Celestial dragons was hacked, and the auction house immediately went into chaos. Stop it. He is Figalen Leonker's saint, the most honorable master celestial dragons. The people around Leonkers were stupefied at the moment. Dare to attack celestial dragons, Marine will send people to encircle you. You're dead, said the man in black. Shoot. Shiki tossed the devil fruit in his toss. Then it's okay if I don't make a move. Without any hesitation, Shiki raised the musket in his hand. Boom, as the gunpowder exploded, the scene was filled with smoke again. The smoke dissipated. A bullet hole appeared in the glass cover of Figalen Leonker's Saint immediately, and his head, like a watermelon in a juicer, was red, white, and indescribable, smashed and covered the entire glass cover. It's over. The assistant brought by celestial dragons trembled and collapsed on the ground. Celestial dragons headshot. This is something big that never happened on Sabaody Island. The world will be shocked by it. Soon. There was a team of Marines that surrounded the auction house. Marine is a violent agency under Marie Joyce. Naturally know the first time. Marineford, Admiral Office, what? Shiki appears, and shot celestial dragons on Sabaady's island. Kong's shocked voice echoed throughout the office. The surrounding Marine Vice Admiral all shrank their necks. Trouble. Celestial dragons were killed in front of people. This is worse than executing a Marine Vice Admiral in front of Marine. Celestial dragons were killed, this kind of thing actually happened. Kong felt his scalp go numb when he heard the news. In the office, there was a collective silence, waiting for Kong to speak. The atmosphere was even more gloomy and terrifying. In a place like Sabaody, the celestial dragons were killed, and the nature of the matter has completely changed. This is a bad event that can affect Marie Joyce. Shiki is blatantly making an enemy of Marie Joyce. After Kong's words fell, the surrounding vice admirals gasped. If this news spreads, it will discredit all celestial dragons. This is much more serious than a pirate killing a high-ranking marine. What's more, the location is the bustling Sabaody Island. Such big news cannot be hidden. In the office, Kong stood up and took a few steps. Everyone could see that his steps were full of anger. The last time the two brothers were intercepted and killed, there was no result in the end, and the storm can be used to turn the chapter over. But if it is not handled well this time, the upper echelons may be even more furious. I can only do my best to take Shiki's head. Otherwise, there is no way to explain it. Kong paused, remembering that after the last mission, Sengoku had submitted an analysis report on Brother Kazan. It explains in detail the weaknesses of the two brothers' fruit, and also gives a plan to deal with them. Take it out of the drawer and open it. Weakness analysis of lion fruit ability users. 1. When fluttering people use their abilities, they have a light body and are afraid of storms and other disturbing factors that affect their movements. 2. Piao Pioran's flying combat power is not as good as the flying demon fruit power of the same level. 2. Piao people must release their floating ability and stand on the ground in order to exert their proper strength. Suggestion. Start Predator Project. Reporter. Sengoku. Predator Project. It is a targeted strategy made by Sengoku for Lion Fruit's tricky ability. Devil Fruit has power beyond imagination. That's right. But Devil Fruit also has its own weaknesses. Like Sand Fruit, they like to be dry and afraid of water. Dice Fruit was defeated by Chop Fruit. In fact, just analyze. Every Devil Fruit more or less has its own weaknesses. After Sengoku fought Shiki in the sea area of Haifeng Island, he found that although Shiki's agility was full in the air, it was unpredictable, but he couldn't show his full strength. At the same level, the single body attack power is not high. Even if Sengoku is restricted everywhere on the warship, Shiki can't help him. A fight down. Sengoku also deduced some key information about Piao ability users. Afterwards, Sengoku refined this information to make a plan. It is enough for the headquarters to respond to the fluttering ability of the Kazan brothers. Even. Kong has already started to make arrangements for the two brothers. Now Shiki is alone in Sabaody Island. It's a good time to hunt. Empty Admiral. Can't let it go. Send someone there. Reports are coming from the scene. Celestial dragons' hands were cut off, and their heads were completely smashed by musket guns. The scene has been photographed by reporters, and it will spread all over the world soon. Shiki is still on Sabaody Island. Kill us Marine soldiers. The Marine Vice Admirals were chattering and chatting. Kong got a headache and said dissatisfiedly, "Shut up. Call Layton, Seth, and Yuliu to meet me." The configuration of these three people is enough to make lion fruit capable people inescapable. Just in case. Kong continued to add, also, contact Sengoku, Garp, and Zephyr immediately, and return to the headquarters from New World immediately. Marine Admiral sits in the headquarters and cannot move. But Marine has a lot of combat power reserves. On the other side, the capital of Seven Waters. It's a completely different vibe from naval headquarters. On the new pirate ship, female warriors were running around on the deck. The sea breeze is blowing, and the face is filled with excitement. It's beautiful. What a big boat. We are finally going to New World. Master Kazan. What is the name of this ship, and what is the name of our pirate group? Hearing this, Kazan smiled. Wait until Shiki comes to decide. As the elder brother, Kazan can make any decision. But in order to take care of Shiki's growth, we still have to pull him out to discuss it. Cultivating a strong man is not only concerned with his combat power. Also pay attention to the establishment of his personality. This will be of great help to Shiki in the future. Just like last time, Roger found the boat and proposed a discussion. If it were Shiki who had a bad temper before, he would definitely participate in it, or find a chance to shoot Rayleigh. But because Shiki knew that the discussion was not about interests, and knew that Kazan had made a decision, it would be unwise for him to intervene. If you do anything out of line, you will lose face, which is a sign of disrespect for your elder brother. So, Shiki held back. For days afterward, Shiki complained that Rayleigh was a coward. But, is Rayleigh really cowardly? No more than his captain, Roger decided to do something. Rayleigh must defend the captain's decision. Just like in the sea restaurant Barati, Zoro confronted Haki Duel, and finally Haki cut Zoro with a knife. Luffy saw the whole process of Zoro being hacked. Did he make a move? Is Luffy not caring about Zoro? Or is the reckless Luffy cowardly in the face of Haki? Neither. Luffy just respects Zoro's decision and trusts him unconditionally to get his work done. It's that simple. So, about the pirate ship, the naming of the pirate group. Kazan will definitely discuss with the younger brother Shiki. And at this time, Blue, Shaki answered the phone to the Queen of Worms. There was a voice immediately. Master Empress, Master Shiki killed the celestial dragons on Sabaody Island, and is fighting with Marine. There are more and more Marines around. Hack and slay celestial dragons? It's Fu Ya's voice. Shiki is with her. Realizing the seriousness of the problem, Shaki immediately turned to look at Kazan. Shiki. Understood. Kazan naturally also heard the voice of the phone bug. Marines are responsible for the celestial dragons, and slaying celestial dragons is a big deal, even sending Marines out. However, Shiki's strength is not simple, but Kazan still decided to go to Sabaody Island. And in the phone bug, Fu Ya's nervous voice came again. Now there are 3 Marine high-ranking officials coming over. They are Marine's Vice Admiral. They have all transformed into violent animals, and they are all dealing with Master Shiki. 3 Zone Vice Admiral. Kazan twirled his thumb over his index finger and ordered, go. On Murloc Tom's side, Kazan has already learned about it, and even approached Tom's residence. He used the treasure hunting radar to detect it, but found no Pluton design. Therefore, the capital of 7 waters can only be left for a while. Soon. In Benjamin Works, the astonished eyes of all the boatmen. A huge brand new pirate ship rises from the ground. Direct flight to Sabaody Archipelago. Kazan stood at the bow, his blonde hair flying. At this moment, the wind is blowing more violently. If anything happens to Shiki, Marine better accept the consequences. Here, New World Sengoku, Garp, and Zephyr are on the same warship. Boom! Garp punched the table, shaking the tea on the desk. Shen Shang said, "What? That guy Kong told us to go back again. What do you mean?" His face was full of black lines. He gritted his back molars and said to Sengoku, "I just went to New World to set out a mission. Originally happily preparing to clean up the pirates in New World, but when he heard that he was going back to the headquarters, he immediately became angry. What a thing, you can order it around." Shiki appeared on Sabaody Island and beheaded the celestial dragons. The incident over there is huge. Garp. Sengoku sat on one side, arms crossed, eyes glistening with cold white light. He raised his eyes slightly and looked at Garp seriously, with a serious expression on his face. Garp was not to be outdone, and said in a teasing tone, "It's just a dead pig, is that important? Your statement is a bit. Sengoku has a headache." In short, on Sabaody Island, our Marine has already met Shiki. The reason why Admiral asked us to go back is not just because Shiki is causing trouble on the island, but also to guard against the big brother behind him, Kazan. Hearing Kazan, Garp gets angry. Last time, more than 90 people from the whole ship were buried in the bottom of the sea. This is hatred related to oneself, of course it must be reported. He didn't continue talking. Zephyr with purple hair stood up. "I heard that you have already fought, Shiki, are they strong?" These 2 brothers are much stronger than ordinary people, and with the strange ability of floating objects, it is much more difficult to deal with. But Sengoku paused. No matter how strong a person is, he still has weaknesses. Zephyr felt the turning of the hull, and looked at the sea in the distance. That's right, everyone has weaknesses, unless it's a leapfrog combat power. On Sabaody Island, Marine soldiers fell one by one. the blood stained the ground and fused with the resin. Countless Marines stared in astonishment. Shiki. A bounty of 520 million berry is offered. Now in the sea, the top 5 bounties exist, and they are only 18-year-old brats. In the eyes of many older Marines, Shiki is just a stinky brat. But now, this terrifying super rookie appeared in Sabaody archipelago in a grand manner. And make a fuss. Even killed the celestial dragons in front of the crowd. Does he know that Marine headquarters is not far from here? Marine is going to send someone over here. A Marine non-commissioned officer waved his arms and shouted, plausibly said, "Don't worry, our Marine has obtained enough information about Shiki. As long as we stick to it, we will surely win. There is an order from the headquarters, just hold him back and wait patiently for more staff." Oh. A group of Marine non-commissioned officers cheered. They waited for such an opportunity for too long. The opponent is a big pirate with 500 million berry. If this battle is won, everyone involved in the operation will be credited. What's more, it's just holding back, it's not a direct confrontation at all. But, just as they raised their guns and prepared to line up for defense, a gold figure flashed past. Marine's phalanx was immediately turned upside down. Cut, it's so noisy. You are a group of trash fish. No fun. Obviously Shiki is the pirate. Seeing Marine rushing towards him, he had to retreat. But now it's completely reversed. However, Shiki felt nothing interesting and was beckoning people to leave. After all, my big brother is waiting for me to set sail. If you have experienced hand addiction here, you can learn a lesson. It is very boring to fight against a group of miscellaneous fish. Just at this time, 3 figures suddenly wearing the cloak of justice descended from the sky. When they landed, there were layers of airwaves under their feet. It's the breath of the strong. What's all this? Shiki looked up. Zone Demon Fruit Power. On the ground of Sabaody Island, 2 Marines, one white and one black, landed with 2 pairs of wings, and the Marine officer with black wings was holding a burly middle-aged Marine in his sharp claws. The 3 of them completely turned back into human form, standing on the ground, with a sense of oppression coming over them. Gia ha 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 ha. Shiki laughed and said, "Who are you 3 guys?" Da da. The headed middle-aged man with gray-white hair and a coat of justice landed first. Who is this man? Leighton Lukes. The corners of Leighton's mouth cracked to a strange extent, and there was a hint of ferocity in his eyes. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. Butcher, Leighton. Zone Fish Fruit Ancient Species Democrocodile Capable User. I came here to kill you. Ron Seth, who had received black wings, had a hoarse voice like a Madara dove that hadn't drank water for several months. Bye. And the man with white wings, wings on his back, his hands are free, he snapped his fingers. Zone Bird Fruit Yanyan Form Ability User, Marine Vice Admiral, Swift, Monk Yuliu. Leighton said, "Shiki, Lousy will crush your bones and arrest you." Seth. Tisk tisk tisk, your meat should be very delicious, right? Yuliu. Come on and escape. Shiki, Gia ha 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 ha. Shiki laughed wildly, and drew out his 2 knives. You Marines, this is not the first time someone has said that to Lousy, and the result is not a complete failure, so let's try it. Come on, little bastards. Boom, lion double nails. Finger pistol. Iron body, black cut. The 4 formally played against each other. Obviously, the 6 styles of these 3 people have reached a mature stage, and their skills are very agile. Marine 6 styles. Of course, almost all the commander-level people in Marine need to practice combat skills. This is a martial skill that can break through the limits of human beings. Especially for Zone Fruit ability users, Marine 6 styles are often the focus of their attack. Because Zone's ability users are much stronger physically and have stronger resilience, such people are most suitable for close combat. The appearance of Marine 6 styles will undoubtedly make these people's combat effectiveness even better. Of course, the triple room. The Marine Vice Admiral named Leighton held a broadsword weapon in one hand. Gia ha 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 ha. After a few fights, Shiki suddenly floated up. Just let Lousy. In this instant, a figure gallops past, and a black claw covered in armament Haki suddenly appears. Straight to the head of Shiki. Oh, high above the sea, the flying ship is sailing. With the help of the wind, the boat sails very fast. But at the moment, the female warriors on board did not have the sense of surprise just now, and they all looked solemn. Under the popularity of Shaki, everyone is aware of the seriousness of the matter. On this sea, celestial dragons is a topic that should always be avoided in the thoughts and views of almost all common people. As the nobles of the world, celestial dragons have ruled the world for nearly 800 years, and they have long been demons in the eyes of some common people. Even, it is a demon that civilians cannot offend. If you encounter it, you should avoid it. But Shiki chose to kill him face to face. Seeing the worried look on the ship, Kazan said, "Celestial dragons are just deformed creations of the times. It's okay to kill them, but there is still something about the arrangement of naval headquarters. Marine sent 3 zone ability users this time, and it seems that they have made sufficient preparations. Actually, Lion Fruit's ability, which belongs to Paramecia, is a fruit ability with a very high upper limit. Its core lies in creation and control, flyable, controllable, relatively balanced. Developed to have a strong destructive power. But if it is not developed to a certain extent, the improvement in combat power will not be as great as imagined. What about Zone? The animal ability of the flying department, the original form of the ability is all kinds of sky hunters, which are hunters exclusive to high altitudes. Compared with other series of flying ability users, there is no doubt that they have a high altitude home court advantage. The animal ability of the ground type has rough skin, thick flesh, strong strength, and superior physical fitness. According to the information delivered by Fu Ya from the scene, the configuration of Marine sending 2 planes and 1 ground is undoubtedly an encirclement and suppression tactic specially arranged for Lion Fruit. Use the advantages to expand and control the entire battlefield. But Kazan isn't worried about Shiki, he's not just an ability user. In any case, I will soon arrive at Sabaody Island. Oh? It's fast. Shiki saw a white figure approaching with a sense of knowledge, his eyebrows jumped slightly, and he drew out his 2 knives with great interest, and blocked the black claws with 1 knife. Beside him is a white swallow whose wings are 2 meters long and covered with black Madara spots. Light as a swallow, swift in action. Unexpectedly, he used his claws to make a move. After all, Swift is a high-speed flying animal. In terms of flying ability, it is similar to a peregrine falcon. So very agility at high altitude, but to put it bluntly, he only has this one specialty. But with this speed, containment is enough. Drink. Yuliu roared, seeing that Shiki reacted very quickly to resist the attack of his claws. Without any hesitation, he flapped his wings, left the scene, and headed for a higher altitude. And the next second, a black shadow directly waved Black's big wings and slapped Shiki angrily. Call. Accompanied by the steel wings of the strong wind, the wings shot out like sharp blades, and were knocked off by Shiki's Sakura Tenkiku. The sound of jingling resounded through the sky. Brush. There was a violent impact in an instant. With the flash of the attack, the shock wave dissipated without a trace. At last, the 2 turned into bird forms respectively, surrounding Shiki. Constantly circling, waiting for an opportunity to move. Boom. On the ground, there was a huge sudden change in body shape, gray and white crocodile skin like a battle armor, covering the whole body. Layton's face had turned into a crocodile mouth with fangs, a thick tail slapped the ground, suddenly smoke and dust filled the air. Dino crocodile, human beast form. In addition to having armor like defensive power, crazy strength, terrifying pounce, and bite abilities, it also possesses the wild aura of ancient wild beasts. It is through this ancient fruit that Layton has been perfectly improved in all directions. As long as Shiki is within the attack range, Layton will attack frequently. Boom boom boom. Along with the fighting, birds chirping, roaring, beasts roaring, the sound was endless. The battle between the 3 Marine Vice Admirals and Shiki nearly destroyed the ground of Sabaody Island. Shiki wore an unrestrained smile. It's really troublesome. It seems that Marine is planning tactics against me, a lion fruit capable user. Ha 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 ha. But is it really useful? Fight for several rounds. Shiki saw it too. 2 in the sky. The ability user of the vulture fruit is the main attacker. The ability user of swift fruit, speed, sneak attack, containment. Both are intended to take advantage of flight and limit their range of motion in the sky. And compared to the white ancient crocodile on the ground, the 2 flying ability users became assistants again. The purpose is to create an encirclement net between the sky and the earth. Let Piao Piao's ability be suppressed in all directions. Eventually made it to the ground and was captured. Jia ha 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 ha. Shiki laughed and said, "Is it useful to have more people?" Snort. Stubborn brat. Layton snorted coldly, "You brat must die. Justice is never late." Shiki hooked his fingers, "The more you count, the more disgusting you are. Lousy's bounty has been down for 5 or 6 years, and it has been increased 3 times. Tisk tisk. You Marines are really slack." Layton, Seth, and Yuliu said angrily at the same time, "You are still arrogant when you are about to die. Watch out." At this moment, the ground suddenly cracked more than a dozen gaps, and they collapsed one after another. In the cracks, the unique resin of Sabaody archipelago was mixed, and it was raised high, like drawing silk. The whole island trembled slightly. The huge mangrove tree is full of vibrancy, and the fallen leaves are falling. Roar, roar. Following 4 roars, 4 shockwaves swept across the ground. In the blink of an eye, it turned into 4 earth lions made up of the earth. Lion fruit ability users will touch and place floating marks on various substances at the beginning of the battle or during the battle. The purpose is to use it at any time during the battle. Layton turned his head suddenly, his arms were covered with hardened skin, and the veins suddenly popped out. 4 beast roars swept over at the same time with huge momentum. Lion Majesty. Earth coiling. From seawater to ground soil, Shiki's lion fruit is very well developed and can be used for almost everything. The only thing that can limit him is his own strength. Face 4 mighty and majestic lions. Layton frowned. Is this also lion fruit's ability? According to Sengoku's information, Shiki can manipulate seawater and create lion-like waves to attack the enemy. The sea is his home field. I didn't expect the land to float. Is the earth also under the control of lion fruit? That's right. Well developed, lion fruit can even control a blizzard. Restricted by the strength of the ability, the form of expression, and the attack power are different. Roar. The eyes of the 4 lions are exceptionally sharp, and the pupils of a beast are extremely ferocious, making people stare frighteningly. What's more, there are earthquakes to follow. It is very difficult for people with poor strength to stand in front of earth coiling. Soon. In all directions, the lion has surrounded Layton to death. Layton tore open the crocodile's big mouth, remained silent, but his eyes became sharper. In marine intelligence, the lion fabricated by Shiki is very powerful, but for a powerful single individual, it is not considered to have strong lethality. A group skill, single combat power is definitely a weak point. But the destruction of the battlefield can limit the actions of the warriors on the ground. Drink. Suddenly, a sharp light appeared in Layton's eyes. The 2 giant claws that had already turned into beasts bit together, and the short and thick legs kicked hard. There was an airwave from the soles of the feet, and they spun and burst out instantly. Death rolls. A gray and white whirlwind-like figure shot out. Bombarded on one of the lions in the Lion Majesty earth coiling. Boom, digging, cutting, rubbing, the sound came. Passing through, a large empty hole appeared in front of everyone. And in an instant, Layton had escaped the Lion Majesty's attack range. Gia ha 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 ha, not bad. Shiki chuckled lightly. It seems that there is still not enough firepower to deal with the strong. Every battle is an accumulation of experience. Developing new moves requires field trials. Through a Lion Majesty earth coiling, it can be seen from the side that the zone-capable user in front of him is very physically fit. Unexpectedly, by rolling his body, using his body as hard as steel, he could gain the ability to break through the ground. Such a person can't be trapped to death. Normal moves have no effect on them. But don't forget, I am a great swordsman. He is also a great swordsman who pays attention to the improvement of all directions. Shooting. Shiki spit out 2 words lightly, and instantly pulled out the musket that he snatched from celestial dragons before. Aim for Layton, ready for a bullet. Gun? You don't need a sword, but a gun? Layton couldn't help laughing in his heart. Is the gun useful to zone? I am an ancient species of crocodile. The hard leather is like iron armor. Will a low-level weapon like a gun be useful? Seth, who is capable of the vulture fruit, and Yuliu, who is capable of the yan-yan fruit, who are circling in the sky, are a little amused in their hearts. They watched the show quietly in the sky. Sabaody's island is within Marine's control, and the time is quite sufficient for the 3 capable users. Besides, the longer the fight, the better for zone. Aim for Layton's head. Boom. Facing the bullets that came lacing, Layton actually didn't care, and directly caught them with his hands. Puff. Blood poured in and burst out directly from the palm of his hand. Pain instantly spread all over his body. This bullet actually caused Layton, who was in the form of a crocodile, to break through the defense in an instant. Passing through the thick palm, the bullet lodged in a crevice in the skin of his face. Layton's expression was horrified. He looked at the 2 centimeters wide blood hole on his palm, and muttered to himself, a bullet that covers the weapon. Fortunately, I used my palm to resist the power, otherwise it would have entered my head. That's right. The Kazan brothers have been in contact with Amazon Lily's female warrior for more than 9 months. In addition to daily sharpening, Shiki has also learned Amazon's armament Haki. The small matter of accurately attaching Haki to bullets is already at your fingertips. Integrate Haki into the combat system. It's what he always does. Because Kazan said that the world is not only about swordsmanship and devil fruit. Haki is the factor that makes a qualitative change in combat power. See Layton break the defense. The two people in the sky suddenly became a little furious, and they were also very uncomfortable. The opponent's method seems to be more than just the two famous knives in his hand. It's so boring. Shiki blew away the gunpowder smoke from the muzzle of the gun, and said, "Show some real skills. Let's act together. As a trio dispatched by naval headquarters, it's not a joke to come here." There is no doubt that Sengoku's intel is not entirely accurate. Shiki's means are far more than the intelligence. Even high-level applications such as armed color covering bullets. I came here with a mission, and Shiki's head was to be brought back. Brush. Boom, in an instant, 3 against 1. Shiki knew that he would have to face it sooner or later, but facing a 3-person double team, it was not easy to escape. What's more, these 3 people are like a set of precision instruments. It is running exactly according to the set program. White's figure flashed past. Several sharp claws pierced the air. Seth of Black's figure, using the huge wings like iron feathers to incite, resisted Sakura Tokiku with his powerful feet, while the ferocious force on the ground dinosaurs can even jump up and bite. Such a pity. Shiki scolded secretly. I really don't make any mistakes. One interferes, one attacks, and one waits to attack. They are all zones with their own specialties. They cooperate with each other tacitly. It can be seen that they have been practiced. What kind of concept is this? In other words, the Marine trio has specialties in attack, speed, and defense. It's just that the characteristics of these 3 fruit abilities are placed on the 3 people respectively. If a person possesses all the abilities, it would be accurate to use the hexagonal warrior to describe it. But now, the combination of the 3 of them is no worse than one person. As a lion fruit capable person, Shiki is used to the kind of battles that play tricks on people before. The characters seem to call. For the first time, Shiki also felt that the battlefield was restricted. Shiki is handy with his superb sword skills, but only you know you're suffering. The 3 opponents are all zone-capable users, their physical strength recovers very quickly, and they are tough and resistant to beatings. Layton's palm had already stopped bleeding, and even started to heal. It's really pervert. Shiki couldn't help complaining. And his own physical strength, facing this high-density siege, is also rapidly depleting. Come here. Shiki's eyes flashed and he roared angrily. Sakura held her hands backwards and swung out with a sword. A powerful gold slash wave, directly towards the sky. The goal is to be the fastest, the rain with the weakest defense. At the same time, Seth's Vulture's melon has come to Yuliu, covering armament Haki, and the explosive power of the kick caused Slash Wave's sword light to change direction, slashing and cutting on the huge red tree, and the sap flowed out. Be careful. Leave the attack to me. Shiki is not easy to fool. Yuliu, Seth, and Layton looked at each other, with more attention in their eyes. Shiki is far more difficult to deal with than the intelligence records. Even if Marine has mastered Lion Fruit's weakness and specially uses the advantages of the 3 zones to target it, forming a targeted encirclement net, it will not be easily captured. It is enough to see that Shiki's temporary combat talent is off the charts. After making eye contact, the 3 shot at the same time, attacking from 3 directions. Seth and Yuliu can both fly. With Marine 6 styles in the air, they have a flexible figure. On the ground, Layton is Rare's ancient species of crocodile, which has a high fault tolerance rate and can attack unscrupulously. The 3 of them stopped being careless and cooperated with the attack. No matter how many tricks Shiki has, it is impossible to resist easily. And these 3 people were originally a combination that Kong specially deployed from various branches for the ability of the Kazan brothers. The 3 who got the secret mission naturally wouldn't make mistakes easily. Shiki's head is worth 500 million berry. Get promoted and get rich, just watch this time. Fighting. Stuck in a stalemate. At this moment, in Admiral's office. Kong looked at the screen in front of him, and frowned. These 3 combined, they can't attack for a long time. Frequent high-explosive battles, Paramecia demon fruit power, should quickly consume stamina. It seems that Shiki is not as simple as imagined. Sengoku didn't measure his true strength at the time. But Sengoku's analysis is correct. It is correct to be able to control the air supremacy of fluttering abilities. Sooner or later, Shiki will be consumed by 3 people. Kong turned to look at the assistant on the side. Where are Sengoku and the others? The assistant replied. Already close to New World's red line. The entire sea is separated by the red line, and New World and Paradise are separated by this natural barrier, but Marine can use the suspension bridge of the Holy Land to cross the red line because of Marie Joy's. This route is much closer than the Fishmen Island, which has to sink 10,000 meters. Kong Admiral nodded. If any of Garp, Sengoku, and Zephyr were in the headquarters, the battle on Sabaody Island might have ended. Do you want to send some additional staff? Considering this, Sora couldn't help shaking his head. Now, Rocks started expanding in New World, and Naval Headquarters was almost fully staffed to keep up with him doing crazy things. If Sengoku and the others hadn't been out for a long time, Sora wouldn't be able to call him back. No longer thinking about it, Kong continued to stare at the information on the scene. This moment. The battlefield of Sabaody Island. Shiki has fallen into a state of insanity, showing a terrible calendar by himself. Armed color-covered double blades. From time to time, the bullets shot coldly or wrapped around armament Haki. Swords collide. The leaked Conqueror's Haki. Observation Haki distribution. 3 kinds of Haki are used back and forth on Shiki. While being attacked by 3 capable users, Shiki can also counterattack interspersely, making the 3 Marine Vice Admirals in a state of nervous tension all the time. This Shiki actually has Conqueror's Haki. It's not easy, but he's also at the end of his rope. As long as it doesn't crush the combat power, the longer the time, the more invincible Zone will be. Only Zone can kill others. Sooner or later, 2 capable users of the flying department flap their wings and disgust at high altitude. Gia ha 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 underscore, stop it. Shiki also saw that the strategy of these 3 people was to consume himself to death. Realize that these 3 people have a clear purpose. Here is Sabaody Island again, and the marine increase is very close. It's not good for you to waste it. Suddenly, Shiki controlled the musket that he had snatched earlier, and let it float in the air in front of him. Then used strength to control Yin Yin. Next second, Shiki jumped up, stepped on it, and regarded that gun as a small land. At the moment when the gun was under force, his whole body lost the ability to float. Boom! In an instant, Shiki's body shot out like an arrow from the string. Lion cut. Wow. This is the price for your self-righteousness. In an instant, Yuliu found himself locked by Shiki again. What was different before was that Shiki had already rushed up, and his speed had reached ultimate at this moment. Yuliu couldn't help being a little stunned. The gold figure passed by with a muku knife in hand. A piece of Yulia's white wings was chopped off in an instant. The whole person fell vertically in pain. Damn it, you bastard. It can actually be so fast in the air. Help me quickly. Lion fruit capable users can float islands as land, and a small musket can control its stability for a short time. This is Shiki's unique trick to break the game. Use your explosive power to gain ultimate speed. Maybe Shiki can't fly as fast as Zone, but as long as there is a fulcrum, the body explodes, and it can also teleport a certain distance. Now, Shiki, who occupies a trace, must kill Yuliu first, even in the face of Seth's pursuit behind him. He fell very fast. What came oncoming was indeed the mouth of a dinosaur. Crack. Death rolls. A whirlwind of gray death tornado rushed straight up. Shiki could only wield his 2 knives and slash on the nose of the dinosaur in human and animal form. Buzz. The aura of the mighty armament Haki exploded instantly. Force directly let Layton, a user with the ability to form a crocodile, roll his eyes for a short while, and after his vision returned to normal in a flash, he saw that the black shadow had come, and the corner of his mouth could not help showing an arc. Facing the alliance of the 3, I actually became murderous. You underestimate us. Soon. Shiki's back suffered a blow from the vulture ability user Seth. Also exploit the flaws of being attacked. Shiki's body rotated, and the slash directly struck Seth's iron-feathered chest. Boom. The combined attack of the 3 made Shiki fly upside down and fall to the ground. Shiki, who fell to the ground, couldn't help panting for a long time. What the hell? All the clothes are broken. The combination of these 3 guys is a big trouble for lion fruit ability users. The ground and the sky cooperate seamlessly. It is indeed a very difficult thing to take advantage of. With the loss of physical strength, I am afraid that I will become weaker and weaker. It will take less than half an hour. The hard battle will be heated up. Fortunately, the previous marine trash fish have been almost cleaned up, and the remaining marine soldiers were also blocked by a few female warriors of the Amazon lily brought by Shiki. Otherwise, facing the sniping of these marine soldiers, I am afraid that they will be even more passive. There are also advantages to having a large number of people. And at this time, Yuliu, who fell to the ground, stood up again. His arm had been cut off by Shiki, and he was waiting for an opportunity on the ground. If necessary, he would transform again and fly into the air to hinder Shiki's actions. Tisk tisk tisk. It really hurts. Shiki, you almost cut off your entire arm. Seth looked at the chopped off feathers on his chest, and the blood flowed out, and he couldn't help being afraid for a while. If I hadn't been Zone, this knife would have cut right into the heart. Layton reminded. Focus on him. He's at the end of his battle. The eyes of the three became more serious, neither did they. Unexpectedly, Shiki can make an effective counterattack under the net of heaven and earth. Almost let him go. Fortunately, for Zone, this small injury does not affect his actions, and he can recover again after fighting. Like Layton's palm, it was healed by the moment. The three fought separately. Shiki is like a trapped animal in the center of the double team. Damn it, if you have the power to crush, you won't be so passive. Now the root in the air is cut off, and the ground is an ancient species, and it is also interfered by the power of the air. It is impossible to hack and kill with all our strength. And at this time, a huge shadow of a boat floated across the battlefield of the three of them. Everyone couldn't help looking up, and it turned out to be a spaceship hovering in the sky. Next moment, boom, a thunderbolt exploded around Shiki. Thunder flashes. Gathering into Chi's figure, a voice came. Shiki, fortunately there is nothing wrong. Call out then, a whirlwind gathered around Shiki. Shiki, I'm in a bit of a mess this time. Look at you, your clothes are all torn. Brother. Shiki was completely surprised. Jihahaha. Sabaody Island, this huge ship is. Those who were on guard against the marine soldiers, those who had the courage to watch the battle from a distance, stood there with their heads raised in shock when they saw the huge sailing ship in the sky. Who would have thought that giant flying ships really existed in the world? But this feeling of shock did not last long. These people were overwhelmed by the howling wind and the huge thunder. Scared to come back to my senses. Is killing celestial dragons something that pirates can do? They are the Kazan brothers. The one who killed the celestial dragons is the younger brother Shiki, and the one who is here now is the elder brother Kazan. They are all big pirates from the New World who offer a reward of hundreds of millions of berry. Terrible. Someone actually made celestial dragons their enemy. Gee ha 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 ha. Seeing Kazan coming, Shiki immediately let go of his exhaustion and relaxed. It was obvious that the big brother was waiting for him in the water capital, but he was besieged, and his brother came to find him himself. This feeling. Let Shiki's heart be filled with an indescribable emotion. Compared to the big brother who is strategizing, his younger brother seems to have been lagging behind. From childhood to adulthood. Jia ha 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 ha. Shiki could only use wild laughter to release this emotion. Alright. Kazan laughed. Shiki nodded heavily. That's good. If it weren't for the fact that the two capable users in the air were afraid of Shiki's swordsmanship and dared not approach rashly during the attack, and the form of the crocodile on the ground, seeing that looks bad, Shiki might have been taken down. Fortunately, it only took half of my physical strength, and I was fine. Now, of course I want to gang up on others. And Shiki discovered that Shaki had actually become a thunderfruit capable user. It seems that the combat power of the pirate group has grown rapidly again. Kazan found the Logia thunderfruit on Sky Island. Shiki knew about it, and was surprised at the time, but later because no one ate it, Shiki didn't pay attention anymore. Apparently, Shaki became a thunderfruit capable user. During this time, Shiki thought that the big brother had actually found devil fruit, so he always wanted to contribute to the team and paid attention to the auction site on Sabaody Island. The result was the Headshot Celestial Dragons event. Brother, this is Paramisha, the fruit of the door. Shiki took out a strangely shaped fruit from White's bosom. Pass it to Kazan. Ding. It is detected that the host has touched the secret treasure of the sea, Paramisha Menman fruit, and the fortune value is +15. Door fruit. Well, this fruit is very important to us. Shiki. You're doing great. This trip not only harvests devil fruit, but also increases fortune value. Kazan couldn't help being a little surprised. He patted Shiki on the shoulder and put the fruit into the space. The ability of the door fruit is that the ability user can open a glass door anywhere, allowing people to come in and out freely. The places where the door is opened include air, flames, and the human body. It is the ability to bring its own space. The convenient ability of this rule system can be said to be strategic for a pirate group. If it is further developed, there may be even greater effects. However, now is not the time to worry about this. Shiki proudly said again. It was snatched from that ugly monster in the auction house. Kazan suddenly felt that the celestial dragon's kill was worth it. It's good to kill. Can we fight again? I'm fine, Shiki said firmly. Rub. After speaking, the ghost of first generation came out of its sheath. The tip of the knife stood a foot away from the ground, and a faint green wind dragon perched on the blade. Kazan looked at the vultures, swifts, and giant crocodiles in front of him. You have a minute to say your last words, Kazan. Will? After Kazan finished speaking, Layton and the other three vice admirals instantly felt their scalps go numb. Trouble. A Shiki can't attack for a long time, and now there is an extra Kazan. This accident is enough to disrupt the tactics of the three. Moreover, Kazan also has a person who seems to be the controller of the Logia Thunderbolt. With the addition of personnel, the battlefield situation is instantly reversed. All of a sudden, Layton and others, who had experienced many battles, didn't know how to make a choice. However, compared to the three Marine Vice Admirals on the scene, Kong, who was far away in Marineford, frowned deeply into the word. Kazan, the big brother, is harder to deal with than Shiki. He is Lion Fruit, the dual ability user of Wind Fruit. But it was even more difficult for Kong to accept, the woman next to Kazan. Shaki, Bounty 90 Million Berry, captain of the New World Peony Pirates. As Marine Admiral, Sora didn't have to worry about such little thieves. But now, Shaki has attached Kazan with his team. Exaggeration is, Shaki is also a Logia Thunderfruit capable user. This raised the hidden potential of the pirates to an unprecedented level. Kazan two brothers. Could it be that, like rocks, they have started to build their own forces? Seeing that the balance was broken, Layton was no longer his opponent. Call Layton immediately and tell them to retreat. Also, when will Garp and the others arrive at Sabaody Island? Let them hurry up. Is it still in time? Estimated hanging. The sense of emptiness was not good, and the tone of the order was a little hasty. Boo boo boo. Layton took out the phone bug from his pocket and got the evacuation order from Admiral's office. I see, we retreat immediately. Now it's 3-on-3, and Marine has no chance of winning. Layton gave a direct look. Seth and Yuliu nodded slightly. At this time, Shiki's voice came. Retreat. Have you forgotten how to besiege me? Retreat? If you let you leave alive, wouldn't I be a joke in the world? Last words. Let's go. Shiki's previous aggrievedness was completely released, and he kept mocking. You. Layton was at a loss for words. Withdraw. Layton turned into a human and beast form, stepped on the ground, and rushed towards the direction of the warship, while Seth turned into a giant black vulture, kicked his legs and flew towards the sky, and the rainflow also turned into a language of beast form, hissing away from the ground. Kazan directly ordered, quick fight. Shaki nods. In a flash, it turned into lightning. Appear on the route of Yulia's escape. After possessing Thunderfruit, Shaki has become a Thunderbolt. She has released a large number of electrons in the air through her debut, and now she realizes teleportation through the transmission of electrons. At the same time, she can also use the body of lightning to pass through various metals, and even wet and conductive walls. This ability can be called Logia's extreme speed. In the blink of an eye, Shaki just intercept the person directly. Her voice came. Do you want to race against thunder? Yuliu couldn't help but widen his eyes, and immediately turned to escape. 30 million volts, discharge, boom. A flash of blue lightning was pushed out from Shaki's hand, like a ray, directly passing through Yulia's body, and the thunder hit the ground, causing countless Marines to also be electrocuted. The entire battlefield is reflected in bursts of white thunder. The surrounding area is even more wailing. Zzz. Although the rain current uses armament Haki to defend, the electric current seems to penetrate everywhere, putting the whole body in a state of paralysis for a short time. And for a short moment, Shiki has found the opportunity to come to him. One knife cut off Yulia's 2 arms, and then another one cut on his back. The bright red exploded immediately, looking at the figure of Yuliu falling to the ground. Shiki sneered, Zone? Zone's resilience, is it as fast as the Sakura 10 wood in my hand? Next. Shiki. Kazan, let's make it fast. Shaki's voice fell, and the thunder flashed again. Soon. Seth, a vulture fruit capable user, was also killed. Although they all have the ability to fly. But in front of the thunder of nature, the speed of birds and beasts is still reduced to slag in seconds. At the same time, they both have armament Haki, plus the zone itself has strong defenses. Maybe they'll be able to hold off the low-volt thunderbolts. But at the same time, Shiki's knowledge is not a vegetarian, and he found them in a moment, and his body was paralyzed. Resolutely stepped forward to make up the knife. Just a moment of numbness, they can only end up decapitated. Now. The surrounding Marine soldiers are completely numb. The 2 zone vice admirals, who were at an infinite advantage before, were brutally killed in a blink of an eye. There is no way to fight back at all. Many Marine recruits who couldn't accept this result have already cried. Ah. The diver. Where did this come from? It's too scary, the fleeting battle, I can't imagine it. Seth Vice Admiral, Rainstream Vice Admiral. Some reporters hid in the dark, shaking their license plates at the scene. This is definitely big news. If such a battle process is described, the whole world will probably be shocked by it. And the other side. The Kazan wind fruit is elementalized, and after compression, it becomes a tiny hurricane. Between breaths, the converging figure came above Layton. Seth, Rainstream. Watching two colleagues being killed one after another, Layton's face was full of fear. Shaki, the cooperation of these two. Without a doubt, far more perfect than their zone trio. Extremely fast. Control. Blast. Layton knew he couldn't escape, so he could only try to fight. Iron body. Kazan held a knife in both hands, and the blade of first-generation Onitsu slashed directly. Layton raised his black hands like crocodile claws, defending with his iron body. But at this time, the blade of first-generation Onitsu did not touch Layton. Between the knife and Layton's arms, there is actually a soft, green, light cluster. It seems that there are strips of green lines intertwining and flowing. This is wind? At the moment of Layton's reaction, the green light group suddenly flashed. The whole space exploded. The immeasurable gust of wind danced wildly like a sharp blade, bursting out. The entire ground was swept by the wind, and at this moment, a semicircle of 20 meters or so was blown out, a depression. Layton stood in the sunken pit. He maintained a defensive state with his hands raised high. But even if he is an ability user in the form of an ancient species of crocodile, even if he is covered with animal skins like iron armor, but at this moment, streams of blood also spurted out like fountains of nourishing water. Hoo. Alive? Zone paired with iron body, the defense is really strong. Kazan will show no mercy to those who hunt down Shiki. A wheel the size of a ping-pong ball immediately formed on the palm of the hand. It was directly stuffed into Layton's huge mouth, panting wildly. How about this? The next moment, as Kazan loosened his grip on the wheel spiraled out of control in Layton's belly. Everyone saw that a crocodile swelled into a spherical shape. Layton's nasal cavity, mouth, suddenly a gust of bright red wind. The whole person is like a deflated balloon, floating randomly in this space. Shaki, a harpoon. Kazan calls out a certain amount of gold. Shaki immediately understood the meaning and threw it at the golden butterfly. Lay metallurgy. ZZZ, after the thunder flashes. A harpoon made of gold, done. The harpoon threaded the three bodies. Kazan turned his head and said, Shiki, since Marine gave you a gift, then we should also return the gift, right? Oh? Shiki's eyes immediately surprised. No, it's total ecstasy. Marineford, Admiral's office. Seeing the bloody screen in front of him, Kong Chi's hands trembled. He never expected that. He just blinked an eye. The three vice admirals with the zone ability were brutally murdered in seconds. And definitely a well-trained marine elite. If it is said that Seth and Yuliu were shot by Shaki using Thunderfruit's extreme speed and Shiki's precise swordsmanship, it was an accident. What about Layton? Layton is in the form of Zone's ancient species of crocodile. The leather armor of the crocodile is as hard as iron armor. He is the most defensive Zone. Apart from being unable to fly, his physical fitness is the best among the three. If it were anyone in the headquarters, no one could take his death roll by force. But Layton was caught up and killed by Kazan. And how much storm power can be compressed by that quiet green wind group, so that Layton, who uses the iron body and is also an ancient dino crocodile form ability, has his whole body broken until he is covered with bloody wounds. What's the difference between that and 1,000 cuts? Kong thought of the standing figure in the round pit, unable to move. Kazan also stuffed a wind ball into it, smashing all the internal organs. Kong no longer dared to imagine that scene in his mind. Wind. In nature, wind is a mild element. Even a strong wind can only cause damage to the building. It is very difficult to scratch human skin, but the seemingly gentle elements have become violent and rampant in Kazan's hands. Logia, the wind fruit, is as sharp as a knife, penetrating into every hole. Kong fell into a rut. Watching helplessly on the screen, the giant sailboat left. And at this moment, Sabaody Dejima, sight. At the end of the battle, only a few 10 seconds later. Sorry we're late. Garp, Sengoku, Zephyr, came here non-stop from New World. Even moonwalk, shaving, and various means are frequent. It turned out to be a step too late. Chi looked up at the spaceship that had gone away, and the three of them clenched their fists until their knuckles turned white. In front of Sengoku, there is a big pit. The big pit is like being carved by a thin knife. There are little Madara inside, full of bright red blood, so dense that it makes one's scalp tingle. Sengoku frowned and summoned a marine soldier to understand the situation. The marine soldier was trembling, and his tongue was already weak. War. Sengoku Rear Admiral, just now. They took the body away. Hear the marine soldier stammer the whole process. Sengoku took a deep breath to calm himself down a bit. It seems that targeting lion fruit is effective, but Shiki waited for his rescue, while Layton, Seth, and Rainflow did not wait for us. Storm strangulation? Has it been developed by Kazan to this extent? Golden harpoon? Harpooned the bodies of the 3 vice admirals? Looking up at the giant sailing ship as big as a sesame seed in the distance, Sengoku suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. That direction. Not good. Their next target is naval headquarters. Can we still catch up? Even the careless Garp's eyes became calm and fierce. If he had paid attention to it back then, Kazan would not have been able to get the wind fruit. Now, let Layton not be strangled to death by the storm. Garp's face was terribly cold. Zephyr took a deep breath. The 3 of them came here out of breath. Going to Marineford now will not be a dog. But Sengoku calmed down and persuaded the 2 of them. We can only do our best. Let's go. Arrange the boat immediately. High altitude. The pirate ship is sailing. Kazan made a move, and the wind dragon immediately swam towards the sky. After a while, another small dark cloud gathered in the sky behind the pirate ship. The dark clouds gradually became thicker, and gradually dark clouds pressed down on the environment, gradually becoming more spectacular. And the side of the ship. Under the boat, there were 3 corpses hung with golden harpoons. From the tip of the harpoon, blood continued to drip into the sea. Drop despair, it took more than 10 seconds before it dripped into the sea. Deck. Unlike the dull atmosphere when they came to Sabaody Island, the pirate group is laughing and laughing at this moment. There are exclamations of admiration everywhere. Master Shiki is so powerful. You actually hit 3 with 1, and they are all tactics designed to target your weaknesses. Gee ha 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 ha. Almost. Luckily my brother is here. Shiki couldn't help laughing out loud when talking about the previous experience. Listen to Shiki's experience of being under siege. The surrounding members couldn't help but be terrified. However, there will be no next time. Shiki calmed down and said. Kazan shook his head negatively. Don't underestimate Marine's background. They rely on Marie Joys, which is the largest violent organization in the world. This time they can bring out 3 zone-capable users, and next time there may be other means. We went to Marineford this time to warn them that there will be a price to be paid for hunting down our brothers. Talking. Kazan waved again, and a dark cloud followed. Brother, what do you think the name of our pirate group should be? Shiki said suddenly. I heard from the crew that Kazan delayed naming the pirates because he didn't arrive. Shiki was very moved inside, so now take the initiative to ask. Kazan. Shiki, what do you think? Shiki. Both of us can fly, and our ship can fly too. Why don't we call them the Air Pirates? Kazan. It's called the Air Pirates. Everyone except Kazan. Hey. Master Kazan decided so quickly. Master Shiki. Flying Sky Pirates is such a good name, you haven't thought about it for a long time. Gee ha 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 ha. Shiki waved his hand nonchalantly. Nothing. Shaki added. Sky Pirates. Shiki, what a fitting name. What about the pirate ship? It should have a name too, right? Master Kazan. Such a beautiful ship should have a meaningful name. Kazan laughed. Flying New Xis. Kazan is too lazy to think about it, although he has no nostalgia for the hometown of New Xis, but it is the place where he and Shiki met, and it is also the place where the story begins. The meaning is not bad. Good. Shiki nodded, thinking of the scene where the 2 brothers ate a fruit and floated in the air. Soon. The 2 brothers decided on the information of the pirate group. Shiki proposed the name of the pirate group, Flying Sky Pirates. Kazan proposed the name of the pirate ship, the Flying New Zizhen. As the team builds. At this time, the voice of the system sounded in Kazan's mind. Ding. It is detected that the host has established a flying pirate group, experience points plus 50 defense. Get the Conqueror's entry branch, Conqueror's Winding. Hiss. It's Conqueror's Winding. Seeing this award, Kazan couldn't help being overjoyed. Because he has been waiting for this reward for too long. It can be said that Conqueror's Entanglement is an inevitable skill for entering the Peak Powerhouse, and it can also be regarded as a stepping stone for the Peak Powerhouse. Just like Luffy in the Wano-kuni Ghost Island chapter, who has the Conqueror's Entanglement, as qualified to wrestle with the Peak Powerhouse Kaido. Otherwise, you can only be beaten passively. Conquerors is divided into several stages. Unconscious Awakening, using Haki to shock, gathering Haki to wrestle. The next stage is Conqueror's Winding. The essence of Conquerors is the courage of the strong, and it suppresses the attack for the spirit. When it reaches a certain level, it can produce physical attack effects. After wrapping Conquerors, every blow it swings is a double blow of spirit and physics. Damage doubled. Kazan didn't expect that at the moment when he formed the pirates, he finally got this reward. Knowing about Conquerors, Kazan quickly recovered from his excitement. Conditional use is unconsciously. The dark clouds behind the flying New Zizhen are getting denser. In front of everyone. The island of Marineford can already be seen vaguely. Shiki, Feng Chi. Get ready, it's time for our flying pirates to give gifts. Oh hoo. Shiki's eyes lit up. Immediately stood up and twisted his neck. Marine can carry out targeted hunting and killing of the two brothers. Don't the two brothers take the initiative to go back? People who don't know think that the two brothers have no temper. Use flying to round up Shiki, then get ready to suffer from being suppressed by flying. Now that the feud is over, sign up today of course. If you don't hurt Marine, you think the two brothers are really easy to mess with. Only. Kazan looked around. They haven't found a suitable ability user to eat the fruit of the door. Although Amazon Lily's female warrior's combat power is fine. But if it's talking about talent, none of them stand out. The fruit of the door is undoubtedly a powerful fruit. It must have suitable candidates and reasonable development to bring out its value. And wait after today. The flying pirates are going to compete in New World soon. Kazan hopes to find the right person in New World. It's a pity that only so many people appear in the original book. Edward Newgate has joined the Rocks team. Charlotte Linlin, who is only 13 years old now, doesn't know where she is except for the bounty. John? Silver Axe? Ochaku. Ochaku couldn't see it anymore. That guy, apart from knowing current affairs, didn't see any special talents. Kaido? Bullet. These rising stars have not yet been born, or are still babies. The Red Earl, Redfield. As for observation Haki, who sees through people's hearts, will such people choose to join a team? Kazan was thinking. The air pirates have arrived in Marineford. Marineford, Square. Have you heard? On Sabaody Island, the Kazan brothers and these two villains caused our headquarters to lose 3 vice admirals. Hiss. Are you sure you heard it right? Vice Admiral, the third member of the headquarters? There are still 3 zone ability users, and one more is an ancient species of crocodile. Damn pirates. The moths of the sea. You should kill them all if you see them. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Marines gathered in 2s and 3s, chatting and sharing knowledge in the square. From time to time, there was a sound of exclamation, and voices of indignation continued to come out. But slowly. Some people at the scene noticed something was wrong. The sky seemed to be slowly turning black. Marines raised their heads together, and saw a large cloud of dark clouds looming over the sky. It's done. The storm is coming. The training is over. Tomorrow I will go to sea to kill pirates. That's right. How can you let those bugs sail the sea? Rumble. Hurrah, wait. There is something in the dark clouds. It's a pirate ship? Marineford, Admiral's office. Balcony. After answering Sengoku's call, Kong came here. On the phone. According to what Sengoku said, from the West Blue Branch incident and the Sabaody Jishima incident, it can be seen that the extreme mentality of the Kazan brothers is not comparable to that of ordinary pirates. They are not afraid of Marine at all, and will even take 3 vice admirals' corpses to Marineford for revenge. As a pirate, he was not chased by Marine, but rushed to the headquarters. This has not happened in hundreds of years. Kong looked at the black clouds that made up in front of him, proving the fact was right. The two brothers are back for revenge. Sweat dripped from Admiral's forehead. It's not that he himself is afraid, but that the sailors in the audience. Marineford Square. What the hell is going on? Why is there a pirate ship in the sky? Who gave the pirates the courage to trespass on Marineford? It must be that the pirates went crazy and strayed in. Otherwise, how could it be possible? Don't worry. These people will definitely be full at the turn of their heads. When Marine raised his head to discuss on the ground. On the deck of the Air New XIS, Kazan officially issued the first captain's order after the establishment of the pirate ship. Cut the rope and give the first gift to Marine. Yes. Master Kazan. The female warrior of the Amazon Lily wields a knife. The rope broke. 3 corpses pierced by golden harpoons fell from the empty sky like a bunch of octopus balls. In order not to break the corpse, let Marine see it more clearly. Shiki even uses lion fruit, a floating golden harpoon, to slowly float down. 100 meters, 10 meters, 1 meter, ding. The golden harpoon tinkled to the ground. The bodies of the laden trio turn up in Marineford Square. And look at the string of corpse gourds. All the Marine soldiers were stunned, dumbfounded, not knowing how to move. Because in front of their eyes, they are 3 advanced generals who have been pierced by harpoons and are wearing broken marine coats. The dinosaur form ability user, Layden's stature is nearly 4 meters high, the vulture fruit ability user, Seth's body is extremely strong, and the Yan Yan fruit ability user, Nanlu's 2.6 meters tall is as thin as Ku. But at the moment, they're all shattered. Even after landing, there was still blood on the ground, soaking from the stone bricks of the square. This picture was so powerful that many people didn't react at all. All 3 of them died just now. Layden Vice Admiral, Seth Vice Admiral, is dead. Yuliu Vice Admiral, but my superior. Tomorrow I have decided to go to sea to hunt down pirates. Didn't they join forces to kill Golden Lion Shiki? Why? The emotions of all marine soldiers are on the verge of collapse. Some burst into tears, and some even went into shock with their eyeballs turning white. Who would have thought? Those men who were once regarded as idols by these people and called pirate nemesis turned out to be like this at the moment. The killer butcher who ended the criminal life of pirates, Don. The scavenger who gluttons the carrion of pirates, Seth. The one who can scratch the head of a pirate with one claw, Swift, Yuliu. Each of them is a man of the hour at naval headquarters. The goal of the soldier to chase, the instructor to study, the goal to talk about after bedtime. But the result? There are more and more Marines on the square, and they are collectively stunned after forming a circle. And the new XIS, Shiki's gold figure floated to the deck. Brother, it's done. Kazan nodded, feeling more than 40 floating imprints. Immediately turned his head and said to everyone, the kindness to the enemy is the cruelty to oneself. If it were a pirate who was arrested, Marine would be pulled in front of the whole world, kneel on the execution platform, and beheaded publicly. Marine would make the entire sea known. Kill chickens to scare monkeys, deter civilians, and safeguard their rights. Rule. But they never thought that the sea is not just what they decide. Kazan's voice fell, and the flying pirates were shocked. Shaki's heart was pounding. Shiki couldn't hide the excitement on his face. He knew that the second gift, the most exciting one, was coming. This is Shiki's favorite part. Shiki, smash. The 2 brothers raised their hands together and made fists at the same time. Kazan pointed forward, and the wind dragon roared and turned into green wind dragons, flying fiercely downward. Call. The sea breeze blew by, and it couldn't wake up the sailors in the square at all. And when the wailing sound from the harbor came, everyone recovered from the shock. Clatter. There was a sound like a waterfall in the sea at this moment. The marine soldiers looked at the sea in the distance, all of them were shocked. At this moment, warships, large and small, began to rise up, float and rise, and surrounded the densely packed flock of blackbirds circling around the harbor. During the period, hundreds of black spots fell into the sea with the sound of wailing. Our warship is flying? Is this the end of the world? Why? The Marines shouted. Hey! What's going on here? Who will explain it? It's the Kazan brothers, the Devil brothers, who killed the vice admirals. Next second. A warship raised its hunting sails. Under the action of the wind, the warship quickly flew down obliquely and landed on the square. The moment it touched the ground, the shells on the warship detonated and burst open one after another. Wood planks, beams, steel, artillery, military beds. Fly out of the dust and smoke. One after another, they fell on every corner of Marineford like shells. Not enough. Kazan continued, and the naval headquarters building. What's the use of smashing the square? Only warships are lost. Destroy the buildings in naval headquarters to make them remember. Marine soldiers. Killing these soldiers, for Marine, is just a recruitment order to make up for it. There is never a shortage of people in the sea, but they are not qualified to enter the Marine. Otherwise, with a shout from Marine, a large number of people will sign up. Therefore, architecture is an important goal. The headquarters building represents the face of Marine. Take the time to fix your face. Boom. With the manipulation of the Kazan brothers, the warship was like an airplane, hitting the Marineford building. The warship was embedded in the building, and immediately exploded and disintegrated. The burning flames roared and swept through the corridors. The wooden doors were ignited, and rushed into the room, bursting out from the windows. A Marine officer who was still working internally. At this moment, they all jumped out of the windows. Damn. Who's attacking Marineford? Can't let it go. This is a disaster. Terrorist attacks. But when they looked back at the headquarters building, they were so shocked that their scalps tingled. Boom. I saw that the huge building in the headquarters was riddled with holes at this moment, with big holes left in the wall. Only half of the warships were exposed, and all of them were burned by fire, and the entire stone wall was blackened. Part of the naval headquarters collapsed as the flames continued to spread. Naval headquarters, arguably the toughest building in the world. The size and thickness of the stones are all the highest specifications. It has the highest defense among all marine bases in the world. But at this time, it has become a dangerous building. Outside Admiral's office, Kong watched the warships approaching one after another. His scalp was about to explode. With blue veins popping up on his arm, he punched the flying warship away. His expression was as cold as ice, and there was only murderous look in his eyes. Damn brother Kazan, your actions will definitely pay the price. It will be soon. Kong gritted his teeth, and Nuxus. Gia ha 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 ha. Exhaust. It's too exhausting. Seeing that the naval headquarters was dilapidated, Shiki shouted excitedly. This feeling is really cool. Kazan has no expression. What about Shaki? Give Marine a third gift. Let them remember forever. Yeah. Shaki nodded emphatically. This man is so Haki, he is doing things that have never been heard before. As her helper, Shaki naturally had to behave better. Immediately, Shaki's palm gathered Zon Blue's thunder. The arcs of lightning are like thunder snakes dancing wildly on the palm of your hand. The sinuous rhythm symbolizes its destructive power. Present. Shaki snorted lightly, Dao wife. Boom. The thunder in his hand flickered, and a huge thunder wave went straight into the sky. As Daozuma thunder frantically roamed in the clouds, the dark clouds that were already agitated were injected with a large amount of thunder at this moment, and the fuse that detonated the explosives entered the core of the gunpowder. Out. The thunder above the head flickered. Let the entire deck of the New X and the island of Marineford be illuminated in a forest of white. Rumble. There was a rumbling sound, and everyone couldn't help but look up. Seeing the restlessness in the sky, the marine soldiers have completely collapsed. Is this what people should bear? No way. Thunderstorm is coming. Was Marineford cursed by a demon? Why do we people have to suffer this? Kong was completely mad inside. However, helpless. This is Logia, and it's a flash of thunder. Thunder is penetrating and cannot be avoided. Logia is an inevitable disaster for the common people. The verdict. Shaki fell silent. Boom. A blue lightning shot down from the sky vertically like a laser, and it was surrounded by flashing thunders. As if to accelerate the lightning laser again, it reached the ground in a blink of an eye. Then, Dao Dao Razor twitched crazily on the ground. Countless electric arcs formed jumps on the ground and spread towards the surroundings. Boom, boom, thunder, thunder. Not only the thunder, but also the terrifying howl of thunder. However, one is definitely not enough. During the process of coming to Marineford, Kazan used the wind fruit to collect the dark clouds all the way, and now he asked Genki to ignite all the thunderstorms in it, and put a lot of electricity in it with thunder fruit. Inside the dark cloud strength has reached up to massive levels, and Shaki is the commander of Thunderbolt. Under her guidance, boom boom boom, several thunderbolts smashed down intensively. The marine soldiers who had no escape were bombarded by thunder. Both body and mind take critical damage. One by one, smoking gray smoke, they all fell down. Ah! Terrible disaster, unbearable suffering. Why should I live? At this moment, the marine soldiers finally understood why the 3 vice admiral corpses were in such a horrible state. They were not only sliced by knives, but also were bombarded by thunder until their skin ruptured. I didn't expect that when I understood it, I was also bearing it. Nuxus. The flying pirates saw the catastrophic scene below. Shiki grinned from ear to ear, his heart bursting with joy. Brother, do you have a 4th gift? How about giving it to Marine together? Confront an excited Shiki. Kazan was very calm, and he came here today to let Marine learn a lesson. If you want to fight, open it. Why bother targeting Shiki who is alone? The Navy is trying every means to hunt down the pirates, even offering a bounty of hundreds of millions of berry at every turn. But what did Shiki do? Sabotaging the West Blue detachment. Not worth hundreds of millions. Furious 5 elders, worth 300 million. Fight Sengoku just once and add another 200 million bounties. With the backing of Marie Joyce, he harvests the heavenly gold from the world, and his violent agency, Marine, is like a wealthy businessman, who spends money to buy the heads of pirates, just like an order placed casually. As long as the head is brought, they will pay. Take advantage of your own strength. But they ignored that someone was accumulating anger. Pirates. When you are about to attack me, you must be prepared to be bitten off a piece of meat at any time. Nobody does it, just because they can't. Pirates hate Marine very much, but reality can only make them escape. To completely frighten Marine is our goal. Look. If no one comes forward, go home today. torturing a group of miscellaneous minions, Kazai found it boring. He didn't want to bother, and deliberately participated in these things. When things come to them. No, and it doesn't matter. And just when Kazan saw that Marine was still in a state of collapse, he had no intention of facing the battle and was about to order to leave. Wait until the gunpowder smoke on Marineford Square gradually clears the factory. A strong man with a strong body, a big chest, a tawny skin, a mohawk hairstyle, and a sausage mouth stood in the middle of the square, glaring at the New York City above. Maxis. Marine Admiral, Kong, empty. Eyes that flashed red, met Kazan's gaze. As if to eat people. Kazan watched this scene with interest. Oh? Since you're here, you still need to say hello. Conqueror's winding hasn't been tried by anyone yet. Although Kazan's current strength is not at the top. Facing a strong player like Kong who has reached the peak, there is also the possibility of failure. But Conqueror's winding gave him confidence. Because, the peak period between people is staggered. The strong people in the sea, such as rocks, have already entered the peak period, while some are still in the growth state. Just like Kaido, the strongest creature, and Whitebeard, the strongest man, both belong to the top battle history. But in the Rocks era, Whitebeard held the Kaido hammer with one hand. Why? Nothing more than Whitebeard is in his 30s and entered the explosive period. And Kaido? In Whitebeard's eyes, a teenage brat. It would be unfair for strong players with different ages to face off at the same time. So, such two people, physical fitness, combat experience, chi level. Currently not at the same level. Originally, when Kazan met a character like Kong, no matter how many devil fruits he used and how many 8-gate fighting skills he had, as long as the Haki level was not enough and there was no Conqueror's entanglement, Kazan would not be able to break the opponent's ultimate defense. But it's different now. Kazan has Conqueror's entanglement, at least try it hand to hand. Shaki. There is something to do, Marine wants to talk to us. Kazan smiled slightly and winked at the two of them, and they immediately understood. Here we come. Shiki crackled, twisting his neck. Shaki followed immediately. Soon. As the whirlwind blew past, the thunder flickered, and a gold figure descended. The three of them stood in the middle of the square. Kazan and Shiki are using lion fruit's levitation. Shaki, on the other hand, uses thunderfruit to gather a small spherical thundercloud under his feet, which can provide standing. This is the ability to stay in the air for a long time based on the moves of Thor Enel. At this moment, three demons who created nightmares appeared. The marine soldiers ran away screaming. The devil is coming. The aftermath of the previous disaster has not yet passed, and the entire Marineford is in the flames of gunpowder and war. The square built with stone bricks is full of potholes, billowing smoke, and skyrocketing flames. There are traces of destruction everywhere. There was an explosion. In such a chaotic environment, he met the culprit who caused all the tragedies. The defense line in the Marine completely collapsed, and the only thought in his heart was to escape. It's like the Summit War is heating up. Everyone's nerves are like tight strings, breaking at any time and causing a mental breakdown. Many people at that time were already unwilling to fight. Kong stared at him, gritted his teeth, and said, "Three brats, are you ready to bear Marine's wrath?" Here, but Marineford. Gia ha 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 ha. Hearing this, Shiki laughed and mocked. "Brother, do Marines like to tell jokes so much?" "Marine has always been like this." Kazan followed with a smile. "It seems that you, Marine, are the ones who bear the anger. The three Marine vice admirals sent to chase and kill Shiki are Kong's orders, right? But look at Shiki, alive and well. Look at your territory again. Is your Marine's anger what it should be?" "Ha ha ha. If it's not enough, we will come again, and you will have a day to practice." HMPH. Kong snorted coldly, his face like an iceberg. "Smart-tongued brat, get ready to leave your life here." Act recklessly. Kong just finished speaking. Kazan acted immediately, directly defeated a warship that was not smashed, and directly charged Kong Chen at high speed. In the next second, a huge warship attacked. Shadows blot out the sun. Watching the warship come crashing down, Sora Admiral's eyes were sharp and his expression showed no fear. He immediately opened his hands, live. The warships of naval headquarters are relatively large in size, like hills, with a length of 60 meters, and the heavy equipment such as artillery, iron plates, and steel armor equipped on them is also terrifyingly heavy. But Kong took it with both hands. The warship was hanging in the air in his hands, creaking. The weight made Kong's steps sink 10 centimeters. As expected of the current naval headquarters #1 combat power, it's so powerful. Every strong man is hard to deal with. Kazan didn't hesitate. Pull out the first generation Onitsu. The green light flashes across the blade, and sends out a faint green slash at the warship. Shiki also swung a huge gold slash wave. This is the great swordsman. Those two guys. He is already a great swordsman who can cut everything. The talents of the two are like monsters. Seeing the Kazan brothers make a move, the surrounding marine soldiers who were still on the Kong platform were immediately surprised. No doubt, such a slash is intoxicating. In these marine cognitions, the Kazan brothers are already the top powerhouses. Buzzing. The slash made a strong sword cry, and two waves of swords passed vertically. The entire ground began to tremble, and countless stones flew up. The entire Marineford Square seemed to be divided by two huge barriers, and the space was crazily distorted, leaving two deep ravines on the ground. Kong just wanted to put down the warship, but the warship was immediately in his hands, cut into 3 pieces by the slash. The cut surface is smooth and flat, and the 2 slashes passed the hull of the warship and arrived in front of them. At that moment, the veins in Kong's arms popped out, covering armament Haki's hands together, and he slashed with all his might. Green, golden, and 2-color light waves, like sharp swords, shone dazzlingly in front of Kong. The huge force is pushed like a tsunami wave. Buzz buzz. Kong's ears were completely sprinted by the sound of the sword. The powerful force from the slash pushed him back again and again. Rely on Marineford stone tile floors. Drink. Kong let out a loud cry, and picked up the chopping blow. The next moment, boom jumped the 2 slashes, one green and one gold, are like 2 entangled giant dragons, soaring straight into the sky, exploding fast. The originally dense dark clouds were instantly broken by the shockwave to create a big hole. The sky is actually clear at this moment. What a terrifying power. Hiss. Shockwave. The sky was blown up and the sky cleared. What a power this is. The Marines on the field were deafened, watching the scene above their heads in shock. But this is good news for Marine soldiers. At least, the originally dark cloud oppressed the atmosphere like a boulder, suppressing everyone's hearts. Seeing the sun now is like seeing hope. A gleam of light appeared in the eyes of the Marine soldiers. However, they were still disappointed. Kazan is the fruit of the wind and wind ability, gathering the dark clouds scattered by the shockwave, but it is just a matter of hand. This is a battlefield, and Logia-capable users should arrange a favorable battlefield. With Shaki, a Thunderfruit-capable user, Black Cloud is her amplifier. Rumble. With Thunder, the sky is dark again. Actually, Kazan didn't think about it. Because of this small action, the hearts of all Marines were hit again. The hope that suddenly rises is still in the state of flame, and it is wiped out with a single finger. Too cruel. Breath of despair. The faces of the Marine soldiers were once again filled with despair. Now, a ground full of rocks. Kong defended against the slashing attacks of the 2 brothers. His forehead was dripping with sweat, and he had stepped on 2 deep ditch behind his feet, which were piled up with 10 pieces of gravel. After all, he is the #1 combat force in naval headquarters, and he can still defend against the slashing attacks of the great swordsman. However, Kong couldn't help mumbling to himself from the numbness in his arms. A master of 2 swords. Both brothers are kendo geniuses. The sword skills of these 2 people are unmatched in my marine. Such a talent, such a fruitful ability. The threat value is too great. Shiki frowned, his expression gradually the other side. This man is so strong. He actually defended against both slashes. Kazan said, his name is Kong, and his code name is Kong. He is the #1 combat force of naval headquarters and the only Marine admiral in this era. It is indeed not a simple character. Shiki said cautiously. Kong's performance didn't surprise Kazan. Its combat power is terrifying. Things are different now. Not to mention that having Conqueror's entanglement can break his defense. There is a powerful Shiki as an assistant, and Shaki who can snipe with lightning. Marine can besiege Shiki with 3 zones. Is there no one in the Flying Pirates? All 3 use the ability to stay in the air, and the 2 Logia with top-level destructive power. Kong. What else? If you can't beat it, you can always fly a kite. Present. Kazan made an immediate attempt and acted again as the lead attacker. Shiki also rushed up to cover. While the 2 brothers slashed several times, several bolts of lightning struck Kong. The entire battlefield suddenly exploded. The flickering thunderlight is white and dazzling. Kong felt like he was going to be blind in both eyes and deaf in both ears. Thunderfruit is also a big trouble. The naval headquarters elites have already gone out, and there are only a handful of people who can fight these 3. Their cooperation is still so tacit, it's difficult. Kong had a headache. 2 lion fruits, combined with fangfeng fruit, is already a headache. Not to mention the destructive thunder fruit. even, and the occasional taunt from Shiki. Comfortable? Stupid marine. Is the feeling of being surrounded and beaten so exciting? Remember this lesson. Admiral. Gee ha 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 ha. Shiki's laughter didn't stop. Kazan attacks again. Sword light. Thunder light. The green wind blade. Sweeping the entire battlefield again. In the next moment, Kong opened his eyes suddenly, a red light flashed in his eyes, his huge fist immediately covered armament Haki, and a black flash thunder burst out. Tianzhao pirate stinky brat. Marine is not something you can provoke. Act recklessly. With a roar, Kong stepped on dozens of times in an instant. Shave, 6 The power that erupts is enough for people to teleport. Between eyes. Kong's the burly figure had already come to a standstill in the air. The supreme punch of a huge figure. Lock Shiki and punch him. Kong? Kong Chen. Boom, black thunder flickered, and an explosive fist struck. Shiki frowned instantly, gritting his teeth to defend himself. But at the same time, a whirlwind of green suddenly swept over. Kazan's knowledge color foresaw the future fully opened. Holding a knife in both hands, the armed color covered the first-generation ghost, and even let the smooth knife. His body was covered with a layer of mysterious gray-white mist. Black thunder also erupted at the same time. Conquerors winding. Boom Kong and Kazan simultaneously unleash their conquerors, entangled in their attacking weapons. At this moment, Tian Jili. When the attacks were about to collide, they were completely separated by an inexplicable force. The two punched and stabbed each other, and collided in the air. The black thunder is raging, and the space is distorted. The stones crumble, because the ground sinks and floats. What kind of horror scene is this? The shocking scene in front of him made people feel daunted. A large number of Marines foamed at the mouth, rolled their eyes, and fell down one after another. Even on the new XIS in the distance, many Amazon Lily's female warriors were affected, and they fell down on the deck one after another, and nervous voices kept coming out. What a mighty Conqueror's Haki. They're wrestling with conquerors. Shaki thought of that night, when he got the horrible disease of lovesickness, which was suffocating. It's all caused by Kazan's powerful conquerors. What level of potential has his conqueror's Haki reached? But now is not the time to care about this. Shaki, as a member of the Flying Pirates, the captain of course has to help when fighting. Kazan also emphasized, this battle is to join forces to encircle and kill. You can attack Shiki in groups, but why should you reason with Marine first? Joke. At that moment, Shaki immediately drew out the lightning in the sky, and directly slashed at Kong who was wrestling with Kazan conquerors. Even after giving the attack command, he flashed behind Kong immediately, and directly launched a thunderstorm. Seeing Ba Se Tang Shiki also lost his mind for a moment. He didn't expect that his big brother had mastered a new way of fighting. A combination of swordplay and Conqueror's Haki? They can actually fit together. Yes, this world is not only about swordsmanship and devil fruit. But Shiki didn't think too much. He dodged, came to Kong's back, held Sakura Tenmuku, and chopped down directly. Prickly thorn. The 2 wounds on Kong's back were shocking. Fair? When Shiki was targeted by 3 zones, Marine never said it was fair. Shiki was extremely excited to be able to surround a Marine. For just a moment, Kong's body was surrounded by thunder and gray smoke was blowing all over his body. Under the blow of the gust of wind, his whole body flew upside down, flying backwards, leaving a series of bright red blood particles in the air. Soon, a huge amount of smoke exploded where Kong landed. Kazan waved. The wind immediately blows away the smoke and dust of the battle. At this time, in the eyes of everyone, a monster with a height of 6 to 7 meters appeared unexpectedly. This is Phantom Beast Devil Fruit? Report. Kong Admiral and Kazan Gang are fighting in the headquarters. On the warship where Sengoku and others were, a Marine soldier reported. My guess is right. The Kazan brothers are going to Marineford to take revenge. But this action is a bit unpredictable. What can they do? Sora Admiral is still sitting in the headquarters. Sengoku glanced at Zephyr and Garp, who also looked blank. These days, pirates dare to make a big fuss in naval headquarters? What kind of strength is Kong sitting in the headquarters? Don't they have any points in mind? Who gave them the courage? It's not going to be a big deal, but it's bad enough. Sengoku calmed down and continued to ask, How is the battle going on? Then Kong Admiral was knocked out and turned into a giant white-haired monster. Hearing this, the 3 of Sengoku were shocked at the same time. The body that was originally sitting immediately stood up, with expressions of disbelief. Sengoku. Shiki is in my hands, even a warship can't destroy it. Garp immediately said, With them alone, how is it possible? Zephyr grinned, also full of questions. Sure enough, he is the most vicious lunatic on the sea. It's always unexpected. Sengoku patted his head to calm himself down a bit. It can only show that their attack power has surpassed the level and reached the cutting-edge attack, which can break through the defense of Kong Admiral. We must hurry back to the headquarters, Marineford. It is no exaggeration to describe the battle scene at this time as a mountain of corpses. Of course, these bones belong to Marine. Some were crushed to death by warships, some were struck to death by lightning, and some were frightened to death. One in the east and one in the west, all kinds of deaths are horrible. Ahem. Zone again? There are not many normal people in Marine. Shiki coughed, clutching his stomach. Just now Kong and Kazan Conqueror's entangled duel, Shiki rushed to the very center and gave Kong 2 knives. Although Shiki himself also has Conquerors, which is resistant, but because Haki's confrontation is too intense. Shocking Shiki's viscera felt pain. Shaki did the same, even with a trace of blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. Conqueror's entanglement is the concentrated outbreak of Haki. Not all people at the same level will be affected. Brother is still the center of the battlefield. Fortunately, the injuries suffered by the two were not serious. They used risky actions in exchange for the opportunity to cause a lot of damage to Kong. At this time, Conqueror's collision disappeared, the dark clouds in the sky were shaken away again, and the smoke and dust on the ground dissipated. In the wasteland, Kong's figure was completely exposed. It is an ape with white hair all over its body. The white ape has 3 bundles of beards on its chin, which are fixed by copper rings. Its 4 palms stand on the ground, and its height is still 6 to 7 meters. I'm afraid it will be even taller when I stand up. But at this time, there were wounds everywhere on the white ape's arm, a lot of blood flowed out, and the white hair was dyed red. Especially a long scar under his left eye, bleeding continuously. Both are masterpieces of Kazan first generation Onitsu. And Kong's white-haired back was also left with 2 deep wounds by Shiki. Hiss. It hurts. The white ape covered his left face, blood flowed out from between his fingers, it was very terrifying. Have you tempered Conquerors to this point? Kong really wants to curse. What kind of monster is this guy? He has already mastered the highest level of combat skills in the sea at the age of 18, and he will get it again in the future. What's more annoying is that the other party is a pirate. Lawless pirates, pirates who ignore naval headquarters. This kind of person, it is best to die by his own hands today. I am a simian in the form of zone, ape fruit, phantom beast species, and ape demon. I have the incomparable power of a troll. I am a life or death brat. Get ready to die. Kong is about to fight back. It is quickly interrupted by Kazan's voice. Not ready, goodbye. Compared with the ancient species, the resilience, frankness, and strange power of the phantom beast species are 1 level higher, and they can even mobilize guest elements to fight. Shiki was besieged and hadn't recovered, but now he and Shaki were injured again. I met a phantom beast who could fight, resist and sit up, the ape demon. Kazan is crazy to put the team at risk, goodbye? When Kong heard this, he was almost pissed off. What about your dignity as a strong man? How did your Conqueror's Haki work out? Ignoring Kong's thoughts, Kazan and others drifted higher and higher. But then, Kong turned into an ape demon, furiously looking for stones on the ground, and threw several huge broken stones out. As a result, Brother Kazan chopped the famous sword into pieces with a wave of his sword. Kazan slapped his palm, the wind blew wildly, and the stones fell violently at an accelerated rate, killing many Marines. Kong. Kazan put the first-generation Onito back into the scabbard, turned around and said with a smile, if you can't play it, don't play it. Kong. Soon, Kazan teamed up with Shiki to break the sea. 4 huge ocean lions and 6 armed ocean whale sharks soared into the sky along the current. Under the blessing of the wind, they rolled higher and faster. Pounced directly on Marineford. Boom instantly gave Kong a chill. Back to the headquarters. The wound on Kong's back is almost healed. But the wound on his face was still bleeding. In the end, the medical staff used needles to suture and applied a pile of medicinal powder to stop the bleeding. Kong rolled his eyes and counted the casualties. The casualties at naval headquarters were very serious this time. More than 800 soldiers died on the spot, and several thousand soldiers were injured. The headquarters building was battered by warships, and half of the walls collapsed. This is the heaviest loss Kong has suffered since he became Marine Admiral. When the news gets out, naval headquarters will be a laughing stock all over the world. News birds fly over naval headquarters every day, such a big event cannot be hidden. Wait for Sengoku, Garp, and Zephyr to return to the headquarters. I thought I was in the wrong place. Is this still the Marineford they are familiar with? With the gauze tied on his head, Kong sat in the position of Marine Admiral. Not only his face was a bit vicissitudes, but his expression was also a bit lonely. A big hole was broken in the wall next to him, and the sea breeze was blowing in. He is distraught. All the surviving officers and the officers who have been trained by the main force of the Marine are gathered together. Everyone looked gloomy and said nothing. This time it was raided by the Kazan brothers, and Marines suffered a heavy loss. Kong said with a heavy tone, I announce that starting today, Marine will temporarily cancel all actions against Kazan's team. Hunting Shiki this time was originally a seamless plan. The results of it, with the arrival of Kazan, the plan was smashed in an instant, and in the end, Marineford was devastated, and none of the 10 members of the Flying Pirates were caught. Without recruiting some newcomers Marine, this loss cannot be made up at all. After doing this twice, Marine may exist in name only. Also, raising the threat level of the Kazan brothers, what do you guys think about the bounty? This action not only saw the pervertibility of those fruits, but also made Marine realize the ferocity of the Kazan literati. Revenge is not sloppy at all, and it's not human at all. In a sense, he's even more dangerous than Rox D. Zebek. Bounty? 800 million, 900 million, 1 billion. But Sengoku suddenly stood up and said, I think his bounty should exceed Rox, and yes, it will always be higher than Rox. What? Did I hear you right? Even taller than the Rox. What does it mean to always be higher than the Rox? The surrounding Vice Admiral was confused and didn't even know how to ask questions for a while. But Kong gave Sengoku a meaningful look. Sengoku nodded. Currently, the bounty for Rox is 1.24 billion berry. And Kazan, it's 40 million berry. There is a difference of 500 million between the two. But as Sengoku of the resourceful general, he immediately thought that today's Rox is regarded as the most evil man by Marine, and his threat level is already at the peak of pirates. And now at this stage, Rox is aggressively expanding its pirate power. Can't avoid contact with superstars like the Kazan brothers. Above the sea, pirates will also decide males and females. Whether it's Sengoku or Kong, they will definitely pay more attention to the monster Rox in their hearts. In fact, Rox are stronger too. In this case, there are only two situations. 1. Rox and Kazan are in the same team, so as a more powerful Rox, will he allow a subordinate's bounty to exceed his own captain, and the pirates under him will obey him as a captain. Even if not, it is disgusting enough for Rox, it may even bury the seeds of disaster. 2. Rox and Kazan are not in the same team. Both of them are expanding their influence. Of course, they need to recruit people. Wanted warrants and newspapers are the best tools for public opinion. As long as they are well operated, they can push Kazan to the Rox competition superior. Either way, Marine is sitting back and reaping the rewards. Bounty? Just bring Kazan's head. Kong is willing to give even 3 billion, let alone more than 1 billion. And now, it's just a bad check of more than 1 billion. Marine only needs to move his fingers, and the amount can be changed to a lot. A good trick to drive away the tigers and devour the wolves. Kong shook his hand. Okay. Just do it, with the push of newspapers. The whole sea boiled completely. Time passed and a week passed. The Rox pirates have become the most popular pirates in New World. The pirate group's lair is located on the island, Hachinosu. On Pirate Island, hundreds of pirates gathered together, all of them looked excited and eager to try. Today is a day for them, because it's the recruiting day for the Rox pirates. As long as you pass the assessment, you can join the Rox pirates as an intern, and those who are strong can even become cadres. Finally, of course, hug the thigh of Rox. See, the man on the captain's throne is Rox. This is the #1 bounty in the world today. The man defined by Marie Joyce as the world's worst man, a big pirate whose head is worth 1.24 billion berry. I came here just because of the name. I want to join the Rox pirates. If you look at it from a distance, you can feel a strong sense of oppression. After all, he is the most vicious man in the world. And then, with a news bird flying over Hachinosu, the sole of the foot is loose. Newspapers and arrest warrants fell like heavenly maidens scattered flowers. The pirates picked it up and took a look. Looking at the eyes of Rox, there was an obvious change. No way. The newspaper said that the flying pirates established by brothers Kazan Shaki are more threatening than the Rox pirates. False? It's impossible. Look. The Kazan brothers beheaded 3 Marine vice admirals on Sabaody Island, and turned around and destroyed half of the naval headquarters. This is a photo of the scene, and a large area was destroyed. And 1.44 billion berry. The captain of the flying pirates, Kazan's bounty has reached 1.44 billion berry. Shiki's bounty has also reached 820 million berry. There is also a Shaki with a bounty of 500 million berry. Among the flying pirates, just these three people have 2.85 billion berry. Hiss. This bounty is a bit unreal. Captain Kazan, he sold 200 million square meters less than Luke's. Immediately, the whole Hachinosu went into a state of madness because of this newspaper. Among the hundreds of pirates, someone came because they wanted to hug Rock's thigh. But now, some people seem to realize that the air pirates have thicker thighs. The two brothers are famous far and wide. Did the Rock's pirates go to Marineford? It seems not. Many pirates thought of it in unison, sitting on the captain's throne. Of course Rox also heard the discussions of those pirates in the distance. Immediately asked casually, Newgate, what do you think? Gu la 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 la. Kazan and Shaki, what an amazing pirate. They dare to fight against naval headquarters. Their bounty changes, every time it is shocking. Gu la 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 la. Newgate grinned and laughed. Hearing Newgate's answer, Rox looked obviously disappointed and didn't continue asking. Newgate, this kid, other than his combat prowess being a monster, his mind is blunt. Have you ever seen a pirate send money to his hometown? Newgate is just. Unlike Rox, he thinks more. The Kazan brothers destroyed Marineford, which shows that their ambition, courage, and combat power are far stronger than the pirates of the same period. Such a villain is undoubtedly the most needed talent for his Rox to build forces. Moreover, the Rox have long been aware of the extraordinary Kazan brothers. It's just that I didn't find the opportunity to recruit. Who would have thought that just 1 year after they officially set sail, they would already become one of Marine's biggest enemies? But, taking advantage of the incident where Marineford was destroyed, Naval Headquarters made the most correct response, using the complex relationship of pirate forces in the sea, using a bounty to drive away tigers and wolves, and make a precise check and balance like a scalpel. Yes. Marine uses a bounty to directly divide the sea into two dominant wind directions. Rox. Kazan. Choose the long-famed villain behind the bounty. Or choose the villain with the highest bounty in the new era? Rox may not care about the bounty, but other pirates in the sea do. No doubt. With the emergence of this high bounty, the pattern of Yinhai will also change. So, those people in Marine are using resources to give Rox a hard time. Yangmu. After guessing the Naval Headquarters plan, Rox couldn't help feeling angry in his heart, and he was already thinking about how to get revenge on Marine. Also at this moment, a voice came. Hula ha ha. Boss Rox, Charlotte Linlin's information is ready. Her pirate group is now in a sea area called Mokovich. Ochaku walked in carelessly, holding the sorted information in his hand. That's right. Ochaku has led his more than 700 brothers to join the Luke's pirates. And he himself has participated in some affairs in the regiment. Grunt Kurt. Silver Axe pushed away his silver mask, stuffing a large lump of flesh into his mouth. John took the wine bottle and opened his mouth wide to drink wildly, gulu gulu. Ochaku suddenly said, Boss Rox, here we go. Mokovich Sea. Rox. Well, every villain on the sea can't be left on my ship. Any information about high rewards must be reported to me. Ochaku. Oh. Boss Rox, we. Charlotte Linlin is a monster constitution, known as a born destroyer. The initial gold bounty after the age of 6 is 50 million berry, although it took so long to reach 190 million, but it is definitely a newcomer with potential. Just a lack of guides. Such newcomers are very malleable and worth recruiting. Rox looked at the intel, alluding to twirling around the paper. Silver Axe, Ochaku, you two go and bring Charlotte Linlin to me. Newgate, go find Kazan and tell me I want to see their brother. Absolutely not, let the forces of the sea be dispersed. These people must be taken down without missing a single one. Rox gave 2 orders. John suddenly said, Captain, what about me? You shut up those trash fish out there forever. Oh, I see, gulu gulu. John drank the wine in the bottle. Soon, the Rox pirates took action separately. New World. Mokovich seas. Oh, long bread. Kazan's bounty has increased again. Hey, it's already 1.44 billion berry. Charlotte Linlin was holding a stack of wanted warrants, with shining stars in her eyes. He is indeed the strongest in the sea. Well. Long bread received the arrest warrant with a cautious expression for a long time. Linlin, maybe it's time for us to make a choice. What choice? Who are we joining? Rox. Kazan. In the pirates, Charlotte Linlin is only 13 years old, with an out-of-the-box personality, like a child who can't grow up, and naturally doesn't have very mature analytical skills. After all, Longbread is old, and he has been handling all the affairs of the pirates for so many years, like a housekeeper. Over the years, although Linlin's bounty has been rising. But it is obvious that such a speed cannot keep up with the times. Even now that she is already very strong in battle, her current gold is only 190 million berry. Pirates, unable to expand in size, can only die slowly. Only the two of them in the entire sea have a bounty of more than 1 billion. Undoubtedly this is the new trend, how to choose is the right one. Facing Longbread's question, Charlotte and Linlin didn't even think about it, and said directly to Kaido, "It must be Kazan." Long Bun supported his head and raised his head. "I knew it." Charlotte Linlin. "Is there a cake? Food night?" Long Bread. "New World. Nuxus." In the hidden pool on the deck, Shiki is having a pool party with Amazon Lily's female warrior. There is fresh water in it, and the amount of water is relatively small, so it has no effect on the ability users. Gia ha 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 ha. "Look at my bounty." Shiki is shirtless, with a comfortable expression. Some of Amazon's female warriors also snuggled up to Shiki's side, and said delicately, "Master Shiki is so amazing." It is worth mentioning that Shiki is not only more wild, but also aesthetically pleasing. The women around him were all strong, and some were even taller than him. Then does Lord Kazan have a plan? Where is our pirate ship heading? Shiki. I don't know. With my big brother in charge, I don't have to worry about it. Kazan room. Inside the bath. Shaki lay on one side, revealing a perfectly curved back. "This is Marine asking for trouble. Such a high bounty." Kazan said indifferently on the side. "Wanted warrants, newspapers, these organizations more or less cooperate with Marie Joyce, and are using invisible hands to dominate the wind direction of the sea. At the end of the day, Rox and I are both being used for a bounty. Naval headquarters does have the tools to sow discord. If this problem is not resolved, Rox will definitely not sit still." Shaki nodded. Kazan. "I'm too lazy to look for trouble, but I'm not afraid of trouble." Rox? "We can totally see what happens." Shaki put down the intelligence, sank below the surface of the water, and floated up in front of Kazan. "By the way, the information gold plate you gave earlier used a kind of text called alchemy, and it took a lot of effort to decipher it in the black market. It recorded a red lanternfish, and the location is in the waters of the Ruksha Sea in the Runankovich Sea." Glowing lanternfish? Alchemy? Mokovich Seas? The location should be right, it's a big fish with a huge lantern on its head. A big fish with a lantern on its head, could it be? Hearing this news, Kazan's heartbeat suddenly accelerated. Countless pictures flashed in my mind. He suddenly thought of the pure gold he was looking for in his plan. Pure gold is a rare metal worth trillions. Moreover, it is definitely far better than Devil Fruit's ultimate strategic reserve. Because, pure gold can make people's time into a pause and immortality. In other words, as long as you get pure gold in the peak period, you will be able to maintain the peak of combat power forever. This is very important for building a permanent power. Kazan had long planned to go find information. Unexpectedly, when I searched for the Ochaku pirates, I got it. And without Shaki, this information will definitely not be translated. The island of legendary alchemy once had pure gold as a mineral. Since the primordial era, people have been searching for and refining pure gold. However, the entire island was swallowed by a lantern. This lanternfish is the king of lanterns. According to the location information on the disk, it is estimated that it is correct. Is it Mokovich Sea? Kazan, you're doing great. Our next goal is to set off for the Mokovich Sea. Sailing time is always a bit boring. Fortunately, the new ship New Xis and a group of beautiful women added a touch of freshness to the journey. Both Kazan and Shiki honed their knives on the wide deck. Armament Haki is also covered on the famous sword. The surrounding girls screamed, "Master Kazan, make Master G's armed color more pure. What a beautiful blade. Oh, these female warriors are all from Amazon Lily, and their Haki attainments are all online, so they can be judged at a glance." Moreover, while building a ship in the capital of Seven Waters, Shaki also took the time to go back to Amazon Lily. After the Empress Chao learned that Shaki had a way to move the island and block the current, she was even more excited. At the same time, Amazon Lily issued an order to train elite warriors that day. Once mobilized, a few good seedlings with good talents were found. In the future, when they grow up, the flying pirates will have a big explosion in combat power and manpower. Covers the blade and begins to change color. Now Shiki is proceeding with the normal way of quenching the two brothers' knives. There are some changes in Kazan. The blade of first generation Onitsu is covered with armament Haki. Originally, the blade is pitch black, but as the number of times of tempering increases, this layer of black becomes grayer and grayer, and the color depth gradually decreases. It develops towards a gray fog-like color. Shiki, who was also tempering his sword, twitched and complained, "Brother, let's forget it. Maybe first-generation ghosts are not suitable for tempering with armed colors, the effect is actually reduced." Kazan. I don't know why, but it works. Seeing this fact, Kazan couldn't help but think of Marijoy's Swordsman 5 Elders. It stands to reason that it has been decades since he got the first-generation ghost at the beginning of the plot. Assuming that 5 Elders is also a person with the strength of a great swordsman, but first when Generation Onitsu appeared, why wasn't it a black sword? Is it that 5 Elders has no strength, or has no pursuit? But according to his action of attaching so much importance to first-generation Onitsu, he seems to be a sword lover. Otherwise he would not hold first-generation Onitsu and kneel in front of I am. Knife? Why didn't it work? Without further thinking, after Kazan destroyed Marineford, Kazan told Shiki and Shaki about Conqueror's winding technique. After all, they are the other two people with Conquerors on the ship, whether they can learn it or not depends on their talents. Of course. Only after awakening the entry, Kazan can be regarded as mastering the corresponding skill. After all, coming to the real world of pirates, the cognition of Haki in the previous life seems to have no specific meaning. Today, he has the ability to foresee the future, flow of armed colors, Conqueror's winding, and listen to the voice of all things, every advanced skill of Haki. It can be said that all the basic configurations for becoming a strong man have been met. In addition, there is also the blessing of the double fruit ability of Paramecia and Logia. What is missing is a constitution that can be called a monster, and the level of the corresponding entry. And all this only takes time. Shaki put his hair on the right side behind his ear, held a phone bug in his left hand, and came out of the cabin. "Kazan, Edward Newgate called and wanted to meet with you." Edward Newgate? Future strongest man Whitebeard? Newgate accepted the Order of Rocks and came to find the flying pirates. But the abilities of the two brothers made their pirate ship doomed to be nothing but a dragon. In this situation, Newgate can only obtain the contact information left by Huang Chi through the black market intelligence station. Information needs to be exchanged in a timely manner, and it is a routine operation for Shaki to leave his contact information. So today, Newgate called and hoped to find a place to meet. In the current nautical age, there are no titles such as Overlord of the Sea, One Piece, Four Emperors, and Shichibukai. Almost all pirates have not yet divided their territory, occupying the land as the king and become the respected pirate emperor, so there is currently no difference in identity, everyone is a pirate with varying strengths. Pirates will often be proposed to meet and negotiate. When the emperor and other ranks are divided, it is the general, common pirates, seeking to see the sea emperor. Only then did they begin to emphasize their respective identities. Meet? First of all, it depends on whether you are qualified enough. Shiki took Sakura away, and said in a dissatisfied tone, "Edward Newgate, the one with a bounty of 520 million, is still a member of the Rocks Pirates. It doesn't look like a good bird at first glance. What are you doing with him? It's a waste of time." "Gu la 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 la. Don't be impatient, this little brother." Silly laughter came from the phone bug, and Newgate was still patiently waiting for Kazan's reply. Hear that trademark laugh. Kazan also knew that Newgate was delivering a message for the Rocks. So facing Shaki, he said, "Find an island in the Mokovich Sea and arrange to meet there." Scotttown. Shaki immediately said the name of a place that needed to be passed. Kazan nodded. "Yeah. Soon." On the side of Newgate, who hung up the phone, he muttered in his mouth, "Mokovich Sea, Scotttown. Isn't this the place where Ochaku and Silver Axe are going to find Charlotte Linlin?" "Gu la 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 la. It's such a coincidence, maybe everyone can meet there." Little ones, Yongfan immediately set off for Mokovich Sea, Scotttown. New World has many unique islands. Scott Island is one of them. The island is not very big, but because the climate is similar to the subtropics, the rainfall is abundant throughout the year, resulting in a wide variety of flora and fauna. After humans occupied the island in the primordial era, a series of local specialties and game were developed here. Because of its rich products, it attracts many tourists. Make Scott a safe haven for pirates and no one even wants to destroy it. At this time, as Kazan and others set foot on the island, waiting for the slow Edward Newgate. The climate of the island has changed a little these days. People have found that in recent days, it only rains at night. Highlands Hotel Swing. Shaki looked at Scott's port from a distance. There are more and more pirate ships docked. The pirate flag of the Red Skull is the pirate group of Rocks, but Edward Newgate said it hasn't arrived yet. Well, another group from the Rocks. Kazan nodded. After this matter is dealt with, go find the lanternfish. Let's go. Go and see what's going on. Meanwhile, Scott suburbs, inside a pirate stronghold. Report. Report. A group of pirates came outside. The two leaders were tall and burly, and one of them was wearing a pair of heavy silver armor. They claimed to be from the Rocks Pirates. They asked to see Captain Linlin. A pirate ran into the camp with a flustered expression and said out of breath. See me? Well, did they bring good food? Charlotte Linlin's tall, childlike figure stood up suddenly, a red light flashed in her eyes. No. The pirate immediately said vigilantly. Don't look at Charlotte Linlin as just a 13-year-old girl form. But when fired up, she can release more terrifying destructive power than the Titans. And the most likely reason for her to get angry. It's food. Fabulous food. In Charlotte Linlin's thinking, everything, food, is the first thought that jumps out. No? If they don't, let them go. Well. The light in Charlotte Linlin's eyes disappeared, but her tone became more and more weird. When Longbread heard this, he immediately said with a vigilant expression, Linlin. It is estimated that the Rocks team came here. They are recruiting aggressively in New World. Many pirates go to Hachinosu, and the Rocks cadres are here, probably because of this. Longbread. Didn't we promise to join Kazan's pirate team? Didn't Rocks come here first? No. Linlin has already decided. Now is not the time to be willful. Linlin. Longbread is also a headache. He underestimated the important moment when a person first establishes his dream. At first, Charlotte Linlin asked Longbread, what is the purpose of being a pirate? Longbread happened to have news of Kazan in his hand, so he handed over Kazan and Shiki's arrest warrants to Charlotte Linlin and told her, pirates, just like these two, must first become an existence that Marine fears. Later, Charlotte Linlin paid attention to the bounty changes of the Kazan brothers many times. Idle? Just like Luffy, influenced by Shanks, the group went out to sea. Linlin. More like targeting the Kazan brothers early on. Now Linlin's pirate group has to face the route of joining a large pirate group to form an alliance according to the form of the sea. There is no doubt that Kazan has the first bounty of the pirate group, which has become the most important in Linlin's heart. Perfect choice. And there isn't one. Rocks? Is Linlin very familiar with him now? Of course he is going to cool off. Hula ha ha ha. Hoo. At this time, Ochaku and Silver Axe had arrived at the camp with more than 20 younger brothers. There is no one to greet you, but it's not polite at all. We are the advanced cadres of the Rocks Pirates. I am Ochaku, a pirate with a bounty of 210 million berry. Two tall figures entered the camp directly, and one of them, Ochaku, said dissatisfied. Under Silver Axe, bounty 200 million berry, Charlotte Linlin, come with us. Rocks wants to see you. Silver Axe said at the same time, Charlotte Linlin, you have no choice. Although the sea is full of pirates who want to join the Rocks Pirates. But there are also people who want to build their own team and develop independently. Against such a lone wolf, if the opponent is very strong, Rocks will go out in person to defeat the opponent. If the strength is average, Rocks will be handed over to the subordinates to deal with. The method is the same, use strength to deter. After all, as long as you bring the person first, you can gradually train them later. In fact, after recruiting players like Edward Newgate, Ochaku, and Silver Axe, the Rocks have seldom made shots. The current Charlotte Linlin has not grown up at all, so he can naturally be handed over to Ochaku Silver Axe, such a veteran deal. The hard way to pay is to let Edward Newgate play. Such as Kazan's pirates. The Rocks arranged for Newgate to go. Linlin, don't get excited. Let's eat a piece of cream cake first. Come. The Longbread directly cut the foot of the table, a piece of lovely roses painted in pink and gold. The exquisite cream cake of the cross appears vividly in the hands of the Longbread. Charlotte Linlin is not a good-tempered person. Long loaves conjuring cakes are a way of coaxing and comforting children. Generally very productive. The Longbread, nicknamed Gourmet Knight, is a cannibal who eats Paramecia chichichi fruit. He can turn any object into food, but this kind of food can only fill his stomach and leave his mouth full. The feeling is as simple as dough. Pata Charlotte Linlin slapped the cream cake away with her big hand. Don't eat. It's not good at all. Linlin won't leave here. In 10 seconds, Linlin will be gone again. After the words fell, all the other members of the Linlin pirates suddenly felt cold. Oops. After cravings comes anorexia, and Captain Linlin is going to be pissed off. Once the attack falls into madness, it will smash and beat everywhere and cause damage everywhere. It's useless to stop anyone. And, there's no way to bring her back to sanity other than that delicious treat she was craving late. The last 10 seconds of prime time. Hey hey hey. Ochaku, Silver Axe, get out of here quickly. Captain Linlin is going to lose his temper, said a leader of the Linlin pirates. Ochaku, Silver Axe. Let's go. What do you mean, you brat? Just because a kid is about to lose his temper? This is not a joke. When Ochaku and Silver Axe couldn't help but complain. The members of the surrounding Linlin pirates were already in a bad mood, and their footsteps began to retreat continuously, giving way to the scene early. The reason why the camp was built far away from the town. Totally because Charlotte Linlin could break anytime. As expected. 10 seconds had passed. A huge fat fist has come crashing down. Boom, a huge pothole was smashed into the ground where the Ochaku Silver Axe was before. In the smoke and dust, there is a pair of blood-red eyes, just like the eyes of a beast in the dark. And in the next second, a flame exploded behind Linlin. Ochaku pulled out a broad-bladed long knife from his hand, while Silver Axe pulled out a huge silver battle axe from behind. The two looked at each other and said at the same time, "Oh? Do it." That only acted. Pirate camp immediately fell into a state of frenzy. Charlotte Linlin's anorexia attack, the whole person immediately lost his mind. Everyone, at this moment, has become her enemy, the target of attack. The members of the pirate group who are familiar with Linlin have all left. Silver Axe and Ochaku, on the other hand, are dealing with Linlin, who is going berserk. Boom. Bang bang. The sound of bombardment explosions filled the entire battalion battlefield. Ochaku and Silver Axe, after all, are also one of the big pirates of the same generation. They are still very powerful and belong to the top group. They don't have much pressure to deal with a crazy Linlin, but at the same time they can't take advantage of it. Cheap. They found that Linlin's skin was as hard as steel. Ordinary people can't break the defense at all. And the blows that he swung casually contained strange power, which made people vigilant all the time. Charlotte Linlin's fruit ability is also very weird. It can actually make people's soul tremble uncontrollably. Damn it. When will this state of being indiscriminate between enemy and friend end? Charlotte Linlin, calm down. Let's talk. Yes, calm down. Let's have a good talk. Boom, the airwave exploded again. What responded to them was another blow of fury. A huge fireball also exploded immediately. Charlotte Linlin, who has a constitution different from ordinary people, was able to kill a bear with a single punch when she was 5 years old. She wanted to help the Titans slap mosquitoes on her body, but she broke several ribs. And after the birthday party at the age of 6, Charlotte Linlin woke up from anorexia and found that there were signs of destruction everywhere, so she got the Paramecia soul fruit and became a soul person. The ability is to handle the soul of a person at will. Of course, she has not yet developed such skills as Thundercloud Zeus. Nor did the flames transform into heavenly fire, Prometheus. The flame that erupted at this moment was more like a child's toy that she had created on the spur of the moment. Throwing fireballs like a brat. Who got it? Who is unlucky? Obviously, this Linlin is still in a state of frenzy, without thinking at all. Naturally, Ochaku and Silver Axe's proposal to cease fire would not be accepted. The fierce battle exploded again in the camp below. And high in the sky. Kazan and Shaki had noticed the movements of the Rock's pirates. When I came to observe, I was immediately attracted by the outbreak of fighting. When we came to the sky above the camp, we saw what happened off the field. It's Ochaku, Silver Axe, Charlotte Linlin. Intelligence expert Shaki said. Ochaku and Silver Axe have joined the Rock's pirates some time ago and served as cadres, while Charlotte Linlin has her own pirates. The two groups are not in the same camp now. Depending on the situation, what happens on this island conflict? Hearing this, Kazan nodded. They may be in the process of building a team now. Using his brain, Kazan guessed some information. The Rocks have Ochaku and Silver Axe and are taking Charlotte Linlin. There is no agreement now. According to the personality of the Rock's pirates, they want to conquer by force. However, Charlotte Linlin is not easy to mess with. So the three of them fought inseparably below. Kazan couldn't help admiring, thinking that a monster like Charlotte Linlin, just because of the steel balloon constitution that was born that day, is 99% of the people in the sea. Even if he works hard all his life, he still can't catch up. This kind of talent is destined to make a person become a member of the strong. All that is needed is growth. So, Edward Newgate asked for a meeting with himself, which was also ordered by Rocks. To recruit yourself? Kazan has the answer in mind. With so many hole cards, he doesn't want to get involved in the affairs of the Rocks group at all. If you want to go to Hachinosu to play and get to know him, he is willing. But the idea of joining the Rocks pirates? No. Kazan owns the lion fruit without side effects, the wind fruit, which comes and goes without a trace, and has a self-traveler system. In addition, his younger brother is Golden Lion Shiki, one of the legendary, and the woman is Shaki who owns thunder fruit. This configuration is destined to become a huge force that cannot be ignored on the sea. How could Kazan hand over the power he built with his own hands? Join the Rocks pirates, become a subordinate of Rocks, obey Rocks? Just because he will become the overlord of the sea in the future? Sorry, Kazan is not allowed to have such a low-level idea. And while Kazan was thinking, the battle below broke out again. Linlin is like a monster that is not exhausted, any attack is done with the mentality of destruction. Z-la-la, ya, wa ya ya ya. Boom! Charlotte Linlin's huge body moved back and forth on the battlefield. There was a red light in his eyes. A terrifying power that frightened the soul emanated from his whole body, and the surrounding green grass and trees all danced wildly. Seeing this, Ochaku and Silver Axe were sweating on their foreheads at the same time. The point is, the Rock's order was for the two to take Charlotte Linlin to Hachinosu. Didn't bring a girl's body to bury it, and Linlin. At this moment, they are killing indiscriminately, with no distinction between the enemy and the enemy. The purpose is different. Even though Ochaku and Silver Axe are strong, they are on the passive side. Hey! Think of a way. We are here to talk about cooperation. Ochaku, the representative of the pirate hero who knows the most current affairs in the whole sea, knows that it is very difficult to forcefully tie up Linlin after a short fight, which does not meet Ochaku's pirate principle of accomplishing a big goal with a small price. It will cost a lot to take away the maddened Charlotte Linlin. The mentality suddenly changed, not as tough as before. Ochaku blocks a blow from Charlotte Linlin, turning to look at the loaf. The beard curled up, and he shouted loudly again. Hey, hey, hey. Short. You think of a way. Silver Axe and I are not here to cause trouble. Speak. Did you hear me? Alas. Longbread looked very helpless. What could he do? Linlin's anger was caused by you two bastards. Two fools. You ask me for a solution. What can I do? Who should I ask? Too idiot. However, considering that the Rocks pirates are a superpower in the sea, it's not easy to offend. Longbread immediately shouted to Charlotte Linlin. Linlin, calm down. Tell me, what delicious food do you want? Ah. Well. Linlin suddenly stopped attacking for a moment. His eyes turned, as if he was thinking, delicious. Of course Kazan. Linlin's words fell, and he bombarded Silver Axe. Boom, Kazan. I heard that Longbread is even more of a headache. When did Kazan, a big pirate, become a wonderful food? Probably seconds before Ochaku and Silver Axe came, Longbread and Linlin were still talking about joining the pirates. And Linlin's answer is that he wants to join Kazan's flying pirates. When this kind of thinking has not receded, Ochaku Silver Axe suddenly entered the camp, causing Charlotte Linlin's wrath. At this moment, anorexia attacks simultaneously. Kazan. Food. These two kinds of people don't match at all, food. At this moment, they were entangled in an inexplicable way. It was mixed into Charlotte Linlin's thinking. After the onset of anorexia, Kazan actually became the only antidote for Linlin's thinking to restore his sanity. It's over. Where can I find Kazan for you? Oops, we are all screwed. The Longbread was completely speechless, and complained loudly at Linlin. What should I do now? Where can I find Kazan? Is it possible that Linlin needs to eat Kazan to solve his anorexia? Kazan is a big pirate with 1.44 billion berry. If you hold the mentality of eating him, Linlin will definitely be killed. If the fight continues like this, the situation will spread to the towns. At that time, Linlin will be rejected by this world again. Longbread pulled his beard until his face felt pain, but he couldn't think of an effective solution. Kazan frowned when he heard this. Charlotte Linlin has a bad name for anorexia, and he knows it. It is rumored that in the early days Linlin was too big, and he was an immature child when he was a child. He caused great damage to his hometown, and was finally exiled to Albuff of the Titan tribe. Linlin, who is a natural destroyer, later destroyed the land of the Titan tribe, was then taken in by the Lamb's House, and the result was another irrational destruction. In fact, Charlotte Linlin was innocent at the time and had no intention of harming anyone. But helplessly, the constitution is strange, possible. Only the vast sea can carry a monster like Linlin. Now, hearing that Linlin actually regarded himself as food, the antidote to anorexia, Kazan couldn't help feeling helpless. I can't let Charlotte eat Linlin. He. Shaki roughly deduced it when he heard it. Kazan, you are so welcome. Shaki sat on a thundercloud high in the sky, sitting like a swing. He continued to tease. Hey, a little girl like Charlotte Linlin wants to eat you. Kazan. Of course, don't you like it too? Huh. Shaki swallowed, blushing until his heart was pounding. Just do it in private. It's embarrassing to say it. What would you do? Shaki asked curiously. Kazan. Since this matter is still related to me, let's go down and have a look. Encountering this kind of thing during the journey can be regarded as a fun way to dispel boredom. After all, the three of them are not little pirates right now. Or the big man who can stir up the situation in the future. Kazan also thought about going down to participate and see what will happen in the future. As for how things develop, he has no specific plans. Soon, a small green wind dragon emerged from Kazan's shoulder. This is the passive of the wind fruit, and now it is already a storm that can affect the size of a town. Roar. Wind dragon roar. The pirate camp was suddenly blown by strong winds, and the trees and grass were rustling. The weaker pirates could not stand still, and their entire bodies were blown over. They could only hug pillars, big trees, and similar strong bunkers. Sudden surprise. Let Ochaku, Silver Axe, Charlotte and Linlin be taken aback. Stop fighting. And the next second, Charlotte Linlin immediately went into a runaway state again. Seeing that the man who was the culprit had fallen to the ground and was wrapped in a gust of green wind, Charlotte Linlin didn't even think about it. Already angry, he rushed directly towards this figure, raised his fat fist the size of a sandbag, and was about to strike violently. But at this time Kazan burst out a powerful Conqueror's Haki. And wrapped around fists, Conqueror's winding. Try it. Charlotte Linlin. Let's see if I can withstand your powerful crit punch. Black's thunder instantly shattered the air, cracking. This momentum is like a tiger, only attacking Charlotte Linlin. Oh. This is Conqueror's Haki. Excited. More excited. Charlotte Linlin's eyes showed an unprecedented excitement. I have been in Dahai for several years, but I haven't seen the second owner of Conqueror's Haki. Immediately, Linlin regained a trace of sanity. And her only thought was to strike the man in front of her critically. But, as the distance between the two gets closer, Linlin suddenly saw the face of that gold figure in front of him. It turned out to be exactly what I kept talking about, Kazan. Wah. In the next moment, Linlin disarmed without even thinking about it. He rushed over with an intoxicated expression. The opponent is ready to attack, but Linlin just jumped on it so innocently. Kazan. What's the situation? Seeing the huge body rushing towards him, Kazan planned to use Conquerors to try to get a good look, but observation Haki suddenly found out that Charlotte, like Linlin, seemed to have changed. After touching a person, he suddenly withdrew his strength, and his eyes instantly became clear. There is no more violent state before. No way. It is impossible to attack such a girl. Kazan also took Conqueror's Haki at the same time. Pat. Charlotte pounced on Linlin directly. Her arms were about to cover Kazan's whole body, and after the real contact, Linlin kissed and rubbed Kazan with an indescribable expression on his face. Wrong's intoxication. This is there is no difference with Momonosuke. Kazan. Well, is it really you? Ah. Right. Kazan frowned, and immediately fled to the side in elemental form. But Charlotte Linlin jumped at nothing, and immediately acted like a baby again. Climbed and rushed over. Get down on the ground and hug Kazan again. Linlin finally found you, Kazan. Let Linlin join you, ma. After the words fell, Kazan was at a loss. When will Charlotte Linlin join herself? At this moment. Long bread with a small body, Haixiasho ran over. Ha! Kazan. It's really you. Linlin, she has adored you since she was a child. Now, she really wants to join your flying pirates. Please accept us. Long bread knelt on the ground politely and respectfully, lowered his head, and begged aloud. Because, at this moment, Long bread is keenly aware that Kazan has an aura, and this aura can make Charlotte Linlin, who is bursting out of anorexia, wake up from a state of dementia. This drug effect, it is unprecedented in the sea. Kazan, here at Longbread, has become Charlotte Linlin's wonder drug. And Charlotte Linlin originally planned to join the flying pirate group established by Kazan. Going with Ochaku and Silver Axe to a place where Linlin could have anorexia at any moment? That's so unwise. Special medicine. Kazan. Glancing at Charlotte Linlin, Kazan said, Charlotte Linlin, are you sure you want to join my pirate group? Charlotte Linlin nodded emphatically. Well, can Linlin do it? So polite. Linlin's pleading eyes were too sincere. Then he turned his head to look at the long bread who was still kneeling on the ground, still waiting for the answer. Kazan gets it. I agree. Get up. Join join join. Anyway, Charlotte Linlin will be a 4 Emperors figure in the future. Long bread devil fruit, cooking techniques are also online. As long as there are ingredients, the cooking skills of long bread are much better than that of Amazon Lily Warrior. Accepting this pirate group is not a loss-making business. Thank you so much. Woo. Long bread burst into tears. Charlotte Linlin's eyes lit up. Well, that's great. And also at this time father. Immediately, 2 strange voices came from the surroundings. The sea must follow the rules. You can't do this. Kazan. Seeing his own results, he will be cut off by Kazan. Ochaku and Silver Axe couldn't take it anymore. 2 huge figures came over and stopped them immediately. Although Charlotte Linlin has been a pirate in New World for a long time. But because she is still in the form of a girl, her mind is immature in all aspects, and her captain's temperament has not come out at all. Therefore, the size of the pirate group is only about 20 people at full count. Except for the Captain Linlin who has a strong combat power, the entire pirate group has nothing outstanding. Of course, it's just looking at it with Kazan's eyes. In fact, the other members were not so unbearable. Being able to follow a little girl like Charlotte Linlin, Linlin would be furious at any time, and he still couldn't see any future vision. They never left more than 20 pirates, their character was at least acceptable. Considering the flying pirates, the new XIS is so spacious that there is no shortage of space. Moreover, there must be someone to do the hard work to tidy up the sails and clean the deck. My younger brother Shiki also needs some small followers. Since it can liberate the hands of Amazon Lily Warrior, it can also exercise Shiki's most basic management ability. Kazan naturally would not refuse, if Charlotte and Linlin pirates want to join. At least Kazan won't lose Linlin's face. Besides, in the future, the 2 brothers can raise the island, and the island will be more spacious, and the construction on it will also need to be done by hand. Kazan will not refuse these people to join. Soon, Kazan settled the matter. Then Linlin, welcome to join us. Well, that's great. Charlotte Linlin nodded excitedly. Now, see Ochaku and Silver Axe coming forward with weapons on their shoulders. Kazan didn't take it seriously either. Ochaku has met before, when he became Shiki's defeat. Combat power is even more incomparable with Kazan. Ochaku, we meet again. Didn't you learn your lesson last time? Kazan laughed. Ochaku scratched his head, blushing. Don't say it, I'm a big pirate who understands current affairs, and I'm not a big fool. The last time I was at the sea, your home court, naturally I won't fight head-on with you 2 brothers. But now. But on an island. Dang dang. Holding the axe, Silver Axe tapped the silver-white armor on his chest, making a bang sound. Kazan, Ochaku and I received the order from Rocks to take Charlotte and Linlin to Hachinosu. For this matter, I advise you to don't get involved. Otherwise, we won't be able to deal with the boss of Rocks. Charlotte Linlin saw the 2 annoying people again, with obvious displeasure on her face. But it seems to be on Kazan's side. The mania in his heart was like a little rabbit that couldn't jump out. Boss Kazan. Linlin doesn't want to join the Rocks, just wants to follow you. Well, can Linlin do it? Linlin said pitifully. Of course, welcome to join the Flying Pirates. Kazan said with a smile. You see, since Linlin is willing to do so, there are many, I don't want to tell you to, please come back. Ochaku and Silver Axe felt something was wrong and looked at each other. If Charlotte Linlin joins the Flying Pirates, then the 2 of them would have made a trip in vain. At the same time, if I just go back empty-handed, Captain Rocks can be angry. Rocks isn't the type to make sense. In order to achieve the goal, they have always shot directly and physically surrendered. When Ochaku and Rocks first met, he felt that he had 700 younger brothers under his command. Facing Rocks' proposal to be recruited, he sternly rejected it. The results of it almost got hammered to death by Rocks. This is not the case with Silver Axe. They have all experienced the horror of Rocks firsthand. Ochaku straightened his beard, opened his mouth, and said, Hey, Rocks' bounty and strength are real. In this sea, no one dares to resist him. Kazan, if you do this, you must consider consequences. Because, you 2 will meet soon too. Newgate is looking for you too. Didn't he tell you about it? No way, you haven't met yet, is Newgate so inefficient? Kazan smiled, but said nothing. He. Really. In the New World, with the appearance of the Kazan brothers. In the era exclusive to Rocks, variables have appeared. And Naval Headquarters Sengoku, the top-level the resourceful general in Buddha form, also contributed a coup. With Kazan's big bounty, rock the rocks forever. With this step, the wonderful chess fell to the ground. The two forces were virtually pushed to opposite sides. Be more specific. As a rocks, you have ambitions, even want to be the overlord of the sea, you have thousands of younger brothers. But what is that great pirate, Kazan, who has a higher bounty than you? The sea has fed so many people for so many years. Will there be less talk? The facts are in front of you, how do you let others evaluate this ocean overlord? One mountain cannot accommodate two tigers, and, absolutely not. Therefore, under the department's plan, Kazan's high bounty means a huge trap. If Rocks is the boss and dominates the family, and all the pirates in the sea are attached to Rocks, then it's okay, everyone will submit obediently. But if the two forces are evenly matched, even if the other party is smaller and weaker, the bounty is higher than you. The debate about the strongest sea will never stop. Finally, will the two forces head towards a conflict? It depends on Kazan and Rocks, how the two leaders choose. But there is no doubt about it. The moment Rocks got the paper, he was already working on it. Damn Kazan. You talk. You bastard, at least give me an attitude. Silver Axe said angrily. Are you going to make an enemy of our Rocks pirates? Warning. Kazan asked quietly. You go back and send a message to Rocks, just say Charlotte Linlin, I'll take it away. As for him Rocks, I will make adjustments based on his reaction. Kazan has no obsession with Charlotte Linlin. But now that they met, Linlin was so obedient and willingly surrendered. Nothing to fault. Anyone who wants to snatch away a member of his own pirate team must first look at his weight before doing it. He's Rocks. You don't know what to do. Ochaku and Silver Axe were angry at the same time, bursting out with momentum. Holding the weapon in your hand, you must do it. At the same time, Ochaku and the two saw Kazan pull out the first generation Onitsu at the same time, and black thunder flickered on the blade. Such an astonishing scene. Immediately, Ochaku was terrified. He was so terrified that he pulled Silver Axe and was about to run away. What the hell? Surprisingly, like Captain Rocks, he has mastered the sea's Haki secrets. Silver Axe, you must hold back, you can't do it. Let's get acquainted, run away. As he spoke, Ochaku dragged Silver Axe's bulky body to escape. He knew that this kind of Conqueror's Haki might not be able to intimidate strong people, but once it was wrapped around a weapon, it would undergo a qualitative change. Before the knife touched anyone, it would make people roll their eyes. If hit, the whole body will be as uncomfortable as if it exploded. That's when Ochaku got hit by the rocks. Ochaku still has lingering fears about that vivid tearing feeling, as if the head is about to be ripped off. Run? The arrogance just now, were you two warning me just now? Seeing the two people pretending to be majestic, Zan directly raised the first generation Goosh. Aim at the two and chop directly. Conqueror's entwined movement, as if there was a mighty force in the air. After the breath covered, directly attack Ochaku and Silver Axe. Help! Brother! Assistant! Ochaku was terrified and desperately called for help. For those who haven't mastered Conqueror's entanglement, those who have this skill are like opening a cheat, physical attack and mental attack exist at the same time, and the effect is huge. Even strong players like Ochaku and Silver Axe. Facing the Conqueror's entanglement attack, there is no way. Boom! Kazan slashed directly. Ochaku and Silver Axe were thrown more than 10 meters away. He came to the side of the trembling bodies of the two. At this moment, Ochaku and Silver Axe were trembling all over, and their minds had recovered. What kind of power is this? Facing the doubts of the two, Kazan joked. Ochaku, you don't seem to have a long memory, if you speak well, maybe I won't bother you. Tell me, how do you two little trash fish want to die? No. The two were taken aback. Although both of them are big pirates, in the entire Rocks pirate group, there are many younger brothers who manage them, and they all belong to the kind of master. Even the monster Edward Newgate, just because of the powerful shock fruit, made the two of them a little afraid. But what about surrender? They only submit to Rocks who wield strange powers. This strange Conqueror's power will make everyone crushed and people have to obey. And Kazan has it now. From the moment Ochaku saw the ghosts of the first generation entangled with Conquerors, he instantly understood that the two were no longer at the same level. The man in front of him was indeed qualified to be tough on Rocks. Ha ha ha. Brother, I was joking just now. Don't take it to heart. Your words, we will help you bring it to Rocks without any mistakes. Ochaku spit out a series of witty words from the bloody mouth. In order to speak clearly, Ochaku tried his best to control the painful body. Blood flowed from his forehead and entered his eyes, and Ochaku didn't dare to wipe it. If given a choice, not coerced, Ochaku wanted to faint right now. Because you don't feel pain when you sleep. Brother, listen to our explanation. You know, the sea is easy for people to learn to be bad. What we just said was unintentional, just a bad habit of verbal. Big brother doesn't like it, so I'll change it right away. This bad habit is really bad, we deserve it too much, brother, look. Kazan nodded. That's right, it's true. Now tell me, how do you want to die? Looking at the famous knife in Kazan's hand, there is still a trace of Conqueror's Haki wrapped around it. Ochaku is already crying at this moment. Brother, you also need a messenger, right? I am. I'll pass on your every word to the rocks. Forgive me. Big brother, it's fate to meet you twice, right? Oh? Kazan removes Conqueror's root. Really boring. This Ochaku is too sensible, and Kazan has no intention of keeping the heads of the two of them. Because doing so is nothing more than inciting conflicts with rocks. It will also make Marine's plan succeed faster. Rather than trouble the pirate rocks, Kazan would rather see Marine suffer. Ochaku and Silver Axe see Kazan accept Conqueror's Haki. If granted amnesty. Scared us to death. Thank you, brother, for your mercy. Brother. Your methods are really powerful. That's how it went. Scott. Ochaku and Silver Axe dragged their wounded bodies and exhausted hearts to the port with difficulty. Immediately, the pirate boys surrounded him. Brother Ochaku, brother Silver Axe, where's Charlotte Linlin? Hold on to the deck. Ochaku couldn't bear it anymore, and slumped on the deck. What are you talking about, Charlotte Linlin? Lousy almost died. Terrible. How do you go back to work? Silver Axe leaned on the railing and worried. Boss Rocks will definitely be angry, and also at this time. Suddenly, a pirate ship sailed over in the distance, and the flag fluttering in the wind was a red skull. Edward Newgate. The little pirate next to him held a telescope in one hand and a chart in the other. Brother Newgate, Scott Island is ahead, but there seems to be a ship of our rocks pirates in front. Gu la 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 la. It's Ochaku and Silver Axe, they're here for Charlotte Linlin. Let's go and have a look first, Edward Newgate said with a smile. Soon, Port Scott. Newgate boards the deck of Ochaku's pirate ship. A huge figure came over, staring curiously at the two people lying on the ground. Ochaku frowned, lying motionless on the deck with his eyes open. Newgate, are you here for Kazan? Hiss. That guy is right there. Newgate looked down and said, Gu la 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 la, have you failed? Needless to say, the other party is Kazan. Also, Charlotte Linlin has joined the Flying Pirates, and so on. Ochaku seemed to think of something. Suddenly got up and clapped his big hands, his mouth was torn open immediately. That's right, painful picture. Ochaku continued. Since Kazan and Charlotte and Linlin are a pirate group, as long as Kazan is brought to Hachinosu, Linlin will also follow. We have also completed the task in disguise, Brother Newgate, I will leave this to you. Newgate, I'll call you Big Brother, won't you refuse? Silver Axe remained silent. Ochaku they may not be able to withstand the Conqueror's entanglement, but Edward Newgate this monster can. The current Edward Newgate is as tall as 5 meters, and he is definitely a giant. At the same time, it doesn't matter if Newgate is tall, the key is whether he is really strong or a shock fruit capable person. Every shot is earth-shattering, quite frightening. According to internal rumors of the Rocks pirates. When the Rocks took over Newgate, the two had a big fight. Played for over 20 minutes. The strength of Newgate is beyond the imagination of other Rocks members. Of course, the Rocks also played against each other with a test in mind. But Newgate is definitely the most powerful existence in the entire pirate group except Rocks. Gu la 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 la. Newgate didn't mind, just carrying Kong Yunch by himself, heading towards town.